Before Yimo finished reading the first transformation, a huge explosion sounded. Yimo immediately put away the jade slip and scanned his spirit sense out. Before Yimo finished reading the first transformation, a huge explosion sounded. Yimo immediately put away the jade slip and scanned his spirit sense out. Yimo saw Brothers Yarn and his team. The explosion was two abstruse immortals fighting. It was Brothers Yarn fighting another abstruse immortal tertiary stage. That abstruse immortal tertiary stage also had 3 behind him. The two teams were clearly fighting for something. Seeing the situation, Brothers Yarn clearly had the upper hand. The other 6 didn't fight. Clearly they were letting the result of this battle decide the outcome. Yimo could tell that one of the 3 on the Toa side was abstruse immortal middle stage. Brothers Yarn's team had higher overall power, but Brothers Yarn was still willing to fight one-on-one. He was indeed an open and upright person. Yimo wasn't interested in such battle at all. He knew that no matter how much he wanted to study the Spirit Will 9 transformations, Ping Piaro Plains wasn't a good place. He had to find a quiet place and go into solitary cultivation. Yimo had decided to stay at the plane for a year. If he could reach top 50, he would go to the Lightning Immortal Well. If not, he would find a place for solitary cultivation and use the Du Luo Heaven fruit to reach abstruse immortal peak stage and then break through to Great Unity Immortal. The reason he doesn't break through to Great Unity Immortal now was because he knew if he reached Great Unity Immortal now, he wouldn't get a chance to reach top 50 at least in the short term. The top 50 of Heaven Immortal rank was 10 million points, but for Great Immortals, top 50 was 100 million. Just when Yimo was about to take back his spirit sense, he saw 2 more immortals fly over and landed near where the fight was. Yimo knew this person. It was that Great Unity Immortal who made him hand over the Du Luo Heaven fruit. Yimo wasn't planning to go over, but seeing this Great Unity Immortal, Yimo was immediately annoyed. This guy dared to mark him with Spirit Sense mark and only left because the Mist Demon Palace was opening. If he didn't see this guy then never mind, but now that he saw this guy, Yimo released Zishu and flew over without hesitation. The battle stopped as soon as the Great Unity Immortal came over. The two sides were originally against each other, but now they were all against this Great Unity Immortal. There's a mud lotus. You guys are quite lucky. Oh no, I'm quite lucky. That Great Unity Immortal could see an extremely hidden mud lotus, but it was revealed now. The Great Unity Immortal said to Brothers Yarn and them, okay, you can all go now. I'll have this mud lotus now. What for? We found this first. The fight is between us 8. You're going to be this domineering just because you're a little stronger. The abstruse immortal middle stage said unhappily. He thought that if all 8 of them attacked together they would still have a chance. He had seen 4 abstruse immortal work together to kill a Great Unity Immortal. But now, there was 8 of them. Because of my flying sword, the Great Unity Immortal raised his hand and a faint yellow beam flashed. It shot instantly at the abstruse immortal middle stage's neck. The abstruse immortal middle stage didn't seem to be weak and immediately tried to dodge, but then he felt the space around him slow and he could only barely move his neck aside, but the flying sword sliced across his shoulder. Blood shot out. The abstruse immortal middle stage's face was scarily pale. None of the people dared to say a thing. He didn't even dare to pick up his shoulder. This Great Unity Immortal was scary to this extent. He couldn't even resist. The Great Unity Immortal saw the abstruse immortal middle stage avoided death and took back the flying sword before saying coldly, seeing as you dodge that, I won't take things seriously with an insect like you. I'm going to take the mud lotus now. Who disagrees? I disagree. To the surprise of the Great Unity Immortal, someone actually said something. But then he realized the voice didn't come from the 8 people but from the side. How did he not notice this person at all? Just from this, he knew he was no match for this person. The rest of the people all saw a purple light land. It's you. The Great Unity Immortal clearly knew Yimo. Yimo left with another Great Unity Immortal and he saw this clearly. He even heard the loud battle sounds of Yimo with the other Great Unity Immortal. Now that Yimo was here, one didn't even need to guess what happened to that Great Unity Immortal. He was already very concerned with Yimo at the entrance to the palace. Now that Yimo came over without any fear, he was concerned even more. It's you. Brota's Yarn and them recognized Yimo too. The other four didn't know Yimo, but when they saw it was an abstruse immortal middle stage disagreeing, they were all shook. Was there someone who really didn't fear death for a mud lotus? Brothers Yarn, long time no see. Yimo smiled and saluted with his fists to Brothers Yarn. Yes, long time no see. Brothers Yarn quickly saluted with his fists. Cough cough, so it's friend. The great Unity Immortal's face looked really bad. He knew he was probably no match for Yimo, otherwise how did Yimo dare to be this cocky? Yimo sneered, I don't remember when we're friends, but I'm a very credible person. Before I went into the palace, you made me hand up my immortal spirit herb. I remember that. Now that I see you, I came quickly to give my immortal spirit herb. Friend, you're funny, ha ha ha. The great Unity Immortal's face was bad. He knew Yimo was cruel and vengeful. There were 2,000 people at the entrance and great extreme immortal there, but he dared to kill an abstruse immortal tertiary stage who offended him. It seemed a battle was unavoidable. Brothers Yarn and them saw the great Unity Immortal act like this and was confused. The other four were completely dazed. An abstruse immortal middle stage was clearly threatening a great Unity Immortal, and this great Unity Immortal didn't dare to retaliate. The abstruse immortal middle stage quickly picked up his shoulder and ate a few pills. Seeing Yimo just sneer, the great Unity Immortal's heart was cold. If Yimo ockled kill another great Unity Immortal, he could kill him. Plus, he didn't feel it was worth fighting someone like Yimo for a mud lotus. He was great Unity Immortal. Mud lotus could at most be used to make great Unity pills. It wasn't much use to him. Since friend disagrees, I won't have this mud lotus. Goodbye. The great Unity Immortal saluted with his fists and was about to go. Yimo laughed. Is the mud lotus yours? You seemed to have come after. What do you want? The great Unity Immortal frowned. He was ready to release his magic artifact. They might have to fight. He added, I have no enmity with you. Why do you have to start trouble with me? Hehe, did you not mark me? I have a lot of good things, but I hate people scheming for it. Yimo laughed and his force rose drastically. The great Unity Immortal's face was green and he suddenly roared, if you want to fight then fight. Don't think I, Zheng Bingqiao, is scared of you. Yimo's power burst up, but he didn't have to fight this Zheng Bingqiao. He definitely wasn't scared of him, but he had too many secrets. He would prefer not exposing them. Yimo's power burst up, but he didn't have to fight this Zheng Bingqiao. He definitely wasn't scared of him, but he had too many secrets. He would prefer not exposing them. The main reason he came here was to ask for benefits. If Zheng Bingqiao planned to give nothing, then don't blame him. He wanted to rob him first, so now he was here to get back at him. We can fight, of course, but if I fight I might not be able to stop myself. That Suo Fei wants my things at the Mist Demon Palace entrance. I didn't stop myself in time and caused some regrets. As soon as Yimo said this, Zheng Bingqiao's heart went cold. From what Yimo said, that great Unity Immortal really was killed by him. What do you want? Zheng Bingqiao's tone softened again. If possible, he really didn't want to fight with Yimo. He was dominant but also careful. Even if he was going to rob, he would rob people who were far weaker than him. If there was someone who could threaten him, he wouldn't act tough. This was why he could reach great Unity Immortal. He was cruel but clear-minded. Yimo nodded. You marked me with spirit sense mark for no reason, making me worry more. I don't have any other hobbies, but I like to collect some contribution points. Zheng Bingqiao cursed, worry my asshole. Who doesn't like contribution points? How much contribution points do you want? Zheng Bingqiao asked. Yimo really wanted to ask how much do you have, but he knew if he asked this they would end up fighting. That Suo Fei had 1 million or so this Zheng Bingqiao shouldn't have lower than 1 million. He'll just take half. Yimo said 500k. What? Zheng Bingqiao dazed. He only had 700k altogether. Even though he knew he was no match for Yimo, he would still fight. If he couldn't beat Yimo he would run, but what if he couldn't run? Zheng Bingqiao was a little hesitant. The abstruse immortals around dazed. Yimo was too cruel asking for 500k contribution points straight up. It was hard even for great Unity Immortal to take out 500k contribution points. I only have 700k contribution points. If you're willing, I can give you 300k. If you don't agree to that, then we'll have to fight. The Great Unity Immortal couldn't take it after being oppressed like this. Yimo frowned. He wasn't afraid of fighting Zhen Bingchao, but his main purpose was contribution points. Zhen Bingchao Dainty seemed to be lying. Thinking about this, Yimo took out Sui Fei's Aqua contribution card. Can you swipe out some of the contribution points in here? If you can, I can ask less of you. Seeing this, Zhen Bingchao's heart went cold again. His last sliver of hope was gone. This Aqua Jade card was definitely Great Unity Immortal. Perhaps the Great Unity Immortal who chased Yimo before. Without a doubt, he was killed if his Jade card was in Yimo's hands. Immortal friend Yimo, I can't open this spirit sense mark, but I have a way to sell out 30% of the contribution points inside. Zhen Bingchao's tone grew even weaker. The courage he just summoned up was gone. Hearing this, he gave a few Jade cards all to Zhen Bingchao and said, I'll give you all the Jade cards here, give me your contribution points. Zhen Bingchao took the Jade cards and found there was even one with 2 million contribution points. He was shocked. If he exchanged all these Jade cards, he could get nearly 100 million contribution points. He would be earning. Even if he wasn't earning, he wouldn't want to fight with Yimo anymore. Sure. Zhen Bingchao took out his Jade card and removed the spirit sense mark and gave it to Yimo. Yimo took the card and found there was indeed only 700k points. He swiped it all to his card without hesitation. Taking the Jade card Yimo threw back, Zhen Bingchao didn't even look and quickly saluted with his fists goodbye. The abstruse immortals here looked dazily at this deal. The main thing was that Yimo used a yellow Jade card. This was the lowest grade. Even a golden immortal rarely used that. Seeing Zhen Bingchao and the other abstruse immortal tertiary stage disappear, Brother Xian came up to Yimo. Brother Mo, thanks for helping. You deserve this mud lotus. Yimo had too many of them. He didn't care about one. Yimo quickly waved his hand. No need, I'm not interested in that thing. Although Yimo didn't fight at all, people from both sides saw Yimo's power. The other team quickly saluted with his fists. We won't take this mud lotus. Brother Xian was a rather righteous person and said, we'll give you some contribution points then. Hearing this, Yimo thought and asked Brother Xian, how much contribution points is needed for a Great Unity Immortal ill? Good quality ones usually cost 1 million contribution points. Some abstruse immortal wouldn't be able to save up this many points after countless years. Brother Xian answered. Yimo thought, he had so many Great Unity Immortal pills, if he sold them all wouldn't he immediately be rich? But then he immediately gave up the thought. Great Unity Immortal pills were the top resource of big sects. If so many Great Unity Immortal pills suddenly appeared, people would definitely investigate. He was only a mere abstruse immortal middle stage, not enough to fight against even a finger of Great Eternity Immortal. Brother Xian, I also want to ask, where there is more level 4 demonic immortal spirit beast? Yimo said. Brother Xian quickly took out a jade slip and said the blue area in this jade slip are where the level 4 and level 5 demonic immortal spirit beast are at. You must not go to the red areas. Why not? Yimo asked. Because it's where they gather in masses. If you go in, there's no chance for survival. Brother Xian quickly said. Yimo realized, when he got the Du Luo heaven fruit, he encountered countless demonic immortal spirit beast. It must be because those immortals went to the red area and were chased. But this also meant that there would be good treasures there. In that case, goodbye. Yimo was going to leave. Brother Mo, wait, that red-robed female immortal stopped Yimo. Yimo immediately knew what she wanted to say, so he said, my friend is very safe, thanks for your concern. Then Yimo took out Zishu and disappeared. He's probably a Great Unity Immortal Qian Bei, right? The abstruse immortal tertiary stage fighting Brother Xian asked. I don't know, but I saw him kill an abstruse immortal same power as me in one move. Brother Xian shook his head. He's that powerful. The other 4 abstruse immortal finally realized what that Great Unity Immortal would take out his contribution points and leave. Yimo wasn't interested in the blue areas. Level 4 and level 5 demonic immortal spirit beast weren't easy to deal with. To him, the best was level 3, the more the better. He went to the red marked area. Yimo stood before a red forest and scanned his spirit sense in. This was the red-marked place on the jade slip. There was 3 red circles around this place showing just how many demonic immortal spirit beasts there were. Yimo stood before a red forest and scanned his spirit sense in. This was the red-marked place on the jade slip. There was 3 red circles around this place showing just how many demonic immortal spirit beasts there were. The reason Yimo came here was because this was the closest. Checking out the surroundings, Yimo went in the forest without hesitation. He was ready to leave if he saw that he couldn't take on this place. There were only some level 2 demonic immortal spirit beast at the outside, but the deeper Yimo went, there were more. After 15 minutes, Yimo stopped. This was far from the depth of the forest. It was still the outskirts, but there were dense clusters of demonic immortal spirit beast. Just how many would there be in the depth? Luckily these were all level 2 and level 3. There weren't level 4. If they were all level 4, Yimo would leave without hesitation. There were more than 10,000 around him now. In just a few seconds, Yimo was completely surrounded. Countless demonic blades, chains flooded him. After ensuring there was not a single level 4 demonic immortal spirit beast, Yimo immediately released Heaven Flame 9 Suns. 2 purple suns were released and the dense clusters of demonic immortal spirit beast crippled under them. But soon, more demonic immortal spirit beast replaced the annihilated ones. They charged at Yimo tirelessly. Yimo breathed easy. 2 suns were much less taxing on his spirit sense than 4. There weren't level 4 demonic immortal spirit beast, so 2 suns were perfect. As more and more demonic immortal spirit beast came, the piles of beast cores around Yimo stacked higher. Yimo couldn't even collect them now. Even though 2 suns were less taxing on spirit sense, he still couldn't take it. Zhen Bingyu saw in the flying snow orb that Yimo used all his efforts to take on the demonic immortal spirit beast, so she quickly flew out and helped Yimo collect those beast cores. Otherwise in time, those level 2 beast cores would melt. Seeing Zhen Bingyu come help, Yimo breathed easy a little. He ate 2 jewel spirit pills. He knew that he couldn't continue like this even if there wasn't level 4 demonic immortal spirit beast coming. He signaled Zhen Bingyu to focus on collecting beast cores and threw his contribution point jade card to Zhen Bingyu. Then, he used Spirit Will 9 transformations. The main use of Heaven Flame 9 Suns was on spirit sense. If Spirit Will 9 transformations could allow him to maintain his spirit sense or exert very little, perhaps he would really be able to collect the contribution points he needed here. Spirit Will 1 transformation to Blades, 2nd transformation Shatter Spirit and Break Sea, 3rd transformation Domain Birth, 4th transformation Magic Fuse, 5th transformation Realm Form, 6th transformation Nirvana, 7th transformation Void, 8th transformation Samsara, 9th transformation Become One. At the 2nd transformation of Spirit Sense, it could sever the spirit sense other people extend out. At the extreme, one could even shatter someone's sea of consciousness. The 3rd transformation was when Domain was formed, one could form his own spirit sense domain. At the 4th transformation, one could fuse his most powerful magic into the spirit sense. It wouldn't be simply spirit sense blades anymore. Any of his fire element or ice element could be instantly activated with spirit sense. It could be said that at the 4th transformation, one could kill Immortal King as Great Immortal. But this Spirit Will 9 transformations was fragmented. There was only the cultivation method for the first 4 transformations. But to Yimo, it didn't matter. He could use his 3-birth chant to slowly derive the cultivation method. Yimo now realized that the things he derived before were similar but not really. His spirit sense domain didn't have that much power nor a clear level. Although he had 3-birth chant, but he didn't have anyone to teach him nor any hints. Any of these cultivation methods were formed after the experience of countless years and countless powerful beings. His 3-birth chant was formed in the chaos after countless years. As for the 5th transformation forming one sea of consciousness world, Yimo believed the corner soul domain in the Chaos Star Realm was probably the sea of consciousness world of Wushuang Immortal Emperor. From this, it was clear that Mu Wushuang not only had spirit sense cultivation method but reached at least the 5th transformation. Yimo slowly sunk into the Spirit Will 9 transformations. Even though his purple eye soul sever wasn't completely right, It wasn't completely wrong. At least his first transformation was completely correct. So he didn't need to cultivate the spirit sense turning into blades. He just skipped to the second transformation, spirit shatter. It wasn't hard, but in order to reach a high level, one needed tens of thousands of years. The first step to level 2 was to sever other people's spirit sense. This was very important in battle. When Yi Mo was deriving the purple eye soul sever, it could also sever people's spirit sense, but its power was too weak. Instead of severing, it was more like interference. This was only effective against people with weaker spirit sense than him. If someone had the same spirit sense as him, he wouldn't even dare to use it, as he would be backlashed. This spirit will 9 transformations was completely different. If a cultivation method was only effective against people weaker than you, it would be meaningless. Purple Eye Soul Sever was a cultivation method that was pointless. The reason he could use it against people was because his spirit sense was too powerful. The Spirit Will 9 transformations also provided a direction for spirit sense cultivation. If there was enough time, Yi Mo would just look at this cultivation method and start deriving his own Spirit Will 9 transformations, but now he didn't have the time to, so he could only cultivate according to it. The demonic immortal spirit beast kept charging at Yi Mo, and Yi Mo's 2 sons didn't weaken at all. He protected him and Jin Bingyu inside. The demonic immortal spirit beast kept dropping beast cores, and Jin Bingyu kept collecting them. Meanwhile, Yi Mo went into a state for self-forget. Yi Mo used the Spirit Will 9 transformations way of refining his spirit sense. Jin Bingyu knew Yi Mo's son was powerful, but it couldn't last long. However, now she found that days had gone by and the 2 sons still hung in the air. Yi Mo didn't even realize that at the beginning he still used pills for cultivation, but later on he didn't even use that too. When there were more demonic immortal spirit beast, the sons would grow larger. When there were less demonic immortal spirit beast, the sons could grow smaller. At the start, Jin Bingyu was amazed at Yi Mo's spirit sense, but after a month or so, Jin Bingyu felt something as wrong. Yi Mo seemed to have lost his senses. He just numbly slaughtered demonic immortal spirit beast and was expressionless. What worried her even more was that Yi Mo's skin started to get red and cold, but yet he was using a heaven flame. "Martial brother Yi, are you alright?" Jin Bingyu called. There was some motion in Yi Mo's eyes, but he still didn't move. Now, Jin Bingyu realized Yi Mo was in trouble. She gathered all her spirit sense power and yelled Yi Mo. Yi Mo's body shook and spat many mouthful of blood, of purple blood. His face was pale like snow. "Bastard." Yi Mo woke up and immediately put away Heaven Flame 9 sons. Then he said, "Let's go." Jin Bingyu flew into the flying snow orb without hesitation. Zishu splashed out a purple view, clearing the demonic immortal spirit beast ahead. Then in a faint dashing light Yi Mo disappeared. Yi Mo flew just for half an hour after leaving the red forest and stopped. He spot another mouthful of blood and used earth mobility. "What happened?" Jin Bingyu immediately asked worriedly. "I was ambushed by that bastard. Thanks for saving me. I need to recover, don't talk to me." Yi Mo came to where he cultivated before and set up a stealth formation before going into the Golden Page world. The reason Qing Mo Immortal City could become one of the top 10 immortal city of Zone Pro Heaven was not because it was big nor popular, but because of Blue Lightning Mountain. The reason Qing Mo Immortal City could become one of the top 10 immortal city of Zone Pro Heaven was not because it was big nor popular, but because of Blue Lightning Mountain. It was just a mountain, but no one could go in usually. Only when the Blue Lightning Immortal Well was open would the city open teleportation formation to the mountain. The Blue Lightning Immortal Well was only an ordinary top-grade immortal, but its quality was very good. It was much better than other things for cultivation and breakthroughs. The only pity was that it only opened every 1,000 years and only invited 100 people in each time. Many immortals went to where demonic immortal spirit beasts were gathered and slaughtered them just for a chance to cultivate in the well. But contribution points were very hard to gather. If you never used them, then it wouldn't be hard to gather 10 million after 1,000 years, but immortals needed to cultivate. Each time they went to adventure, they would buy pills, magic artifacts, and runes. If they weren't lucky, the contribution points they gathered wouldn't even be used and they would die. Some powerful immortals would improve their power with contribution points. Only then would they get more contribution points. Now, the Blue Lightning Mountain was about to open, many immortals were gathered at the city. Other than the 100 who could cultivate in the immortal well, the top 1,000 on each leaderboard would be able to go in the mountain too. However, they could only search for immortal spirit herbs there. In an immortal rest tower, a few immortals were congratulating a white-faced abstruse immortal. Zhenghong brother, congratulations, you reached the top 50. This time you can definitely reach Great Unity Immortal after going in the immortal well. We'll need your help in the future. An extremely seductive female immortal got up and drank. Then, the other few immortals also drank. The white-faced abstruse immortal laughed and said, if I can really go in and reach Great Unity Immortal, I, Ji Zhenghong, definitely won't forget you all. But there's still a month till the place opens, I don't know if people can surpass me. Haha, impossible. Brother Zhenghong, you know that the city made the rule 3 months before the opening of the mountain, only those contribution points from killing demonic immortal spirit beasts will be counted. If it's obtained from some other method it would be ineffective. It can only be used to buy things and not go into the immortal well. There's only 1 month now, the top 50 is pretty much decided. A long-bearded abstruse immortal smiled. Ji Zhenghong clearly knew this. In order to ensure fairness, this 3-month rule was made. There were other ways around this, but there was only so much the immortal city could do. Those who could cheat would have large sums of immortal crystals and might not even be interested in ordinary immortal wells. Ji Zhenghong nodded. Yes, but it's still better to be careful. The female immortal laughed. Brother Zhenghong is too careful. You have 9.46 million now. The 51st is at 8.08 million. Even a Great Eternity Immortal wouldn't be able to kill 1 million worth of beast cores in a month, right? I feel like Brother Zhenghong is right, there are beast cores for sale in the city. If people buy it there's still danger, but then again, even if someone buys them and beats Brother Zhenghong temporarily it would be pointless. Brother Zhenghong is a master who almost reached the abstruse ranks. He only needs to go kill a few demonic immortal spirit beasts and it would be enough, another dark-skinned abstruse immortal said. The female immortal shook her head. Yes, but there isn't enough time to kill demonic immortal spirit beasts now, it has nothing to do with ability. The long-bearded abstruse immortal smiled. Those who have the ability to buy beast cores would have already done so already. The price of beast cores now are many times more than usual. No one would use that many immortal crystals to buy beast cores. Suddenly, Ji Zhenghong's face changed. Brother Zhenghong, what happened? The leaderboard is changing. Look, that Mo Ying guy, the dark-skinned abstruse immortal called out. The female immortal also stared at the leaderboard in shock. An immortal called Mo Ying's contribution points keep rising. It went up from 4 million to 6 million. It still hadn't stopped. At the rate, it would only be a matter of time before it broke through 10 million. If that happened, Ji Zhenghong would be squeezed below top 50. What happened? Ji Zhenghong's face looked bad. Everyone stared at the leaderboard nervously. In just a short while, Mo Ying's contribution points were 9 million or so. In just half a minute, Mo Ying would become the 50th off Heaven Immortal leaderboard. Interesting. An abstruse Immortal peak stage saw the rising Mo Ying too. That guy is cheating, right? He bought this many beast cores, one extremely beautiful woman next to him asked. The abstruse Immortal peak stage was dressed in blue robes and looked very handsome. A long sword hung in the air behind his back. Cheating, even if he is cheating, he's not simply to be able to get so many beast cores at this time. The abstruse immortal laughed. Martial Brother Shu, if he continues like this, would he reach first and be even above you? The beautiful female immortal asked worriedly. Shu Ji smiled in contempt. So what if he's first? Using such means, he's no match for me. The female immortal nodded and smiled sweetly. Of course, Martial Brother is top 10 in the abstruse rank of Zone Pro Heaven. If it wasn't for the Blue Lightning Well, Martial Brother would have already reached Great Unity Immortal. However, Shu Ji looked regretful. Only those with weaker foundations would fight over this. Those with more wealth wouldn't even want to come. Martial Brother, don't worry. Once you reach great unity immortal in the well, you can go to a wider world. I believe with Marshall Brothers' power, you definitely won't stop at the middle heaven domain. One day, you will be able to cross the void and charge into the grand 11 heaven domains, that extremely beautiful woman said with confidence. There was certainty in Shuji's eyes. He nodded to that female immortal. Thank you Marshall sister Yang top 10 of abstruse rank in Zong Piaro heaven is nothing. Only once you enter a greater world would you be able to find what you want. There was a sliver of sadness in the female immortal's eyes, but she immediately said happily, Marshall brother, you can do it. Ji Zhanghong looked at Mo Ying surpass him without stopping at all and clenched his fists tightly. He saved up for a few centuries and now at the last moment, his opportunity was taken. His still rising, the female immortal stared at 43rd ranked Mo Ying and said in shock. The long-bearded abstruse immortal frowned. Where did this guy come from? To buy this much beast cause at this time, how much immortal crystals would be needed? I want to see which god this Mo Ying is. Ji Zhanghong's face was green and his jade cup was crushed. Zhen Bingyu didn't know her actions would make people so angry. Yi Mo had been in solitary cultivation for a few months. She just now remembered to send the beast cause into Yi Mo's card. In the golden page world Yi Mo slowly opened his eyes and stopped the time formation disk. In the golden page world Yi Mo slowly opened his eyes and stopped the time formation disk. He had cultivated an entire 40 decades in the time formation disk before recovering. Compared to before, Yi Mo was much darker and skinnier. If Zhen Bingyu didn't wake him up before, he would probably burn himself out eventually. That cultivation method was too ferocious. When he started cultivating it, he only had the primordial instinct to keep cultivating and using Heaven Flame 9 Suns. Yi Mo knew that the reason he could last a month was because the 3-birth chant kept nourishing him and supplying him with life force. Otherwise in a few days he would completely turn into a layer of dried skin. Yi Mo took out the jade slip of Spirit Will 9 transformations and burned it to pieces immediately. He knew that the problem wasn't with the Spirit Will 9 transformations, but there was a sliver of Tao Will in the jade slip. It was even hidden in every word. When he looked at the jade slip and wanted to cultivate it, the sliver of Tao Will formed a bridge with his consciousness. The Tao Will then planted itself in his will and grew. The Tao Will wasn't intended to kill the cultivator but turn the cultivator into a puppet. If someone's spirit sense grew to a certain extent cultivating from the jade slip, the Tao Will would be able to affect the cultivator. However, the person behind this didn't expect someone would be able to cultivate and battle at the same time. The 3-birth chant allowed Yi Mo to release Heaven Flame 9 Suns while cultivating Spirit Will 9 transformations. The growing spirit sense couldn't last the use of Heaven Flame 9 Suns and thus couldn't control Yi Mo's soul and will. It could only give Yi Mo the message to keep cultivating to survive. Even so, Yi Mo used a few decades to completely burn away that Tao Will and recover his lost essence under the bitter bamboo. The Spirit Will 9 transformations was an extremely high-level spirit sense cultivation method. Yi Mo was certain the cultivation method was right, but the problem was with the person who left it. Yi Mo definitely needed to cultivate the Spirit Will 9 transformations, but he wasn't going to use this cultivation method. He would derive his own Spirit Will 9 transformations. As for the person who left the jade slip behind, without a doubt it was the person who left behind the voice in the palace. That guy was definitely a powerful being. He not only had a terrifying cultivation method like the Spirit Will 9 transformations but could also form a palace with space law. Originally, what that guy left behind had nothing to do with him, but this Spirit Will 9 transformations jade slip annoyed him. If it wasn't for Zhen Bingyu, even if he woke up he would die to demonic immortal spirit beast. How could he not get revenge for this? Even if he couldn't get it now, he would eventually get it. Yi Mo sealed the Sky Mobility Gold and the Blue Platform in the Golden Page world. They came with the jade slip. No matter if there was something wrong with them or not, he had to be careful. He didn't have time to look at them now. You're fine now. Zhen Bingyu got up in joy. She had been really worried about Yi Mo. Yi Mo seemed skinnier and darker, but he should be fine. Yi Mo nodded. Thank you a lot this time. If it wasn't for you I would be dead. You saved me countless times. This is nothing. But who is that bastard you said? Zhen Bingyu asked. If I'm not wrong, it's the guy who wanted us to kneel in the palace and accept his heritage, Imo said. Hearing this, Zhen Bingyu's face flashed with horror. If it wasn't for Yi Mo, she would have knelt down and accepted the heritage. What are you doing? Yi Mo saw the jade card in Zhen Bingyu's hand. Zhen Bingyu got up and waved it, saying, "Before I didn't have time to put the beast cores in the jade card, I could only throw them in the storage ring. I'm sending the beast cores in now to increase contribution points." How many contribution points? Yi Mo asked and then remembered why he even came here. How long till the opening of the immortal well? 11 million points now. There's still a month before the place opens. I was thinking if you still didn't come out we wouldn't have time, Zhen Bingyu said. Yi Mo nodded. Okay, let's go back immediately. 11 million should be enough. Don't insert any more inside, we don't want attention. By the way, how many contribution points are left in the storage ring? Zhen Bingyu gave the jade card to Yi Mo and said, "There's about 6 million, I'll give the storage ring to you. I have 100k in my card." Yi Mo waved his hand. "No need, keep it in the storage ring. If we don't have enough we'll add more." Although he was ambushed this time, he didn't lose completely. He got 10 million contribution points from killing demonic immortal spirit beasts with Heaven Flame 9 Suns for a month. From this, it was clear that the demonic immortal spirit beasts there were countless. It was only a matter of time before they overtook Zone Pro Heaven. On top of that, Yi Mo's spirit sense rose drastically. After he burned the Tao Will, his spirit sense was almost on par with Great Extreme Immortal Tertiary Stage. Half a month later, a man and woman came to the Jiyu Land City teleportation formation. It was Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu. After the two came out, they immediately got on Blue Moon and bolted out of the Ping Pro plains. There were some demonic immortal spirit beasts stopping them on the way, but it didn't affect them much. They immediately went on teleportation formation from the Ping Pro town to this Jiyu Land City and then took the teleportation formation from there to Qing Mo Immortal City. The teleportation formation was very busy and they had to line up. It had been 6 hours and it still wasn't their turn. Just when it was about to be Yi Mo's turn, a harsh voice sounded, "Let me go on first, I have an emergency." A red figure landed on the teleportation formation and moments later another green figure landed next to her. There were many people lining up, but these two female immortals suddenly cut in line. People were immediately unhappy but no one said anything. The green-robed female immortal was at least Great Extreme Immortal. Everyone lining up was mostly below Great Unity Immortal. Seeing this green-robed female immortal, Yi Mo's eyes narrowed and quickly slowed his immortal essence. To others, she may seem like a Great Extreme Immortal, but Yi Mo immediately knew she was an Immortal King. The Immortal King scanned across the immortals lining up and saw Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu. When she scanned Zhen Bingyu there was a sliver of surprise in her eyes, but soon she looked at Yi Mo. The Immortal King scanned across the immortals lining up and saw Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu. When she scanned Zhen Bingyu there was a sliver of surprise in her eyes, but soon she looked at Yi Mo. "You seem very nervous," the green-robed Immortal King's voice sounded by Yi Mo's ear. Hearing this, Yi Mo calmed down instead. He was certain now that even if the Immortal King scanned him with spirit sense, as long as the Immortal King didn't pressure him with spirit sense, he didn't need to worry about the Golden Page world being exposed. Yi Mo didn't know why the Immortal King said this to him, but luckily she didn't keep focusing on Yi Mo as the teleportation formation had activated. This person is probably a Great Eternity Immortal. Some people discussed. Great Eternity Immortal? Are you dumb? She's one of the 10 big Immortal Kings of Zone Pro Heaven, Su Huan Immortal King. Luckily you didn't say much just then. She hates people gossiping. If you dared to speak, she would have shattered your brain. What? She's Su Huan Immortal King? Of course, she's going to the Qing Mo Immortal City now desperately, probably for the opening of the Blue Lightning Immortal Well. Yi Mo was just listening on the side. He didn't expect her to be one of the 10 big Immortal Kings of Zone Pro Heaven. An hour later, Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu were on the streets of Qing Mo Immortal City. It was much more prosperous than Jiyu Lan Immortal City. "Where do we go?" Zhen Bingyu looked at the boisterous streets and frowned. Yi Mo knew what she meant. Zhenbingyu didn't like to squeeze around where there were a lot of people. She liked quiet places. It's impossible to find a hotel or immortal rest tower. But we have another option. We can go rent a cultivation home from the immortal city. Yimo smiled. This was the best choice. He was going to Blue Lightning Immortal Well, but Zhenbingyu couldn't go. Even if she went, it was useless. The city management was rather strict. Even if you offended high-level immortals, you would be fine as long as you didn't go outside of city, much less city-managed cultivation homes. Safety was guaranteed. The biggest auction that takes place every century in the city is about to begin. Jade slips for the auction items, just one contribution point and you can get one. A few hollow immortal yelled on the streets. Give me one. Yimo took out his jade card and bought a jade slip from the hollow immortal. He didn't want to go to the auction, but he wanted to see what was in these large-scale auctions. One would need large sums of immortal crystals or contribution points to go. He only had a few million immortal crystals and not many contribution points. After scanning it, Yimo sighed. No wonder it was the biggest auction of the century. There was everything here: high-level immortal spirit herbs, materials, top-grade flying immortal artifacts, high-level cultivation methods. No wonder so many people came to the city. It wasn't just for the immortal well but also for this auction. This auction even had level 7 immortal spirit herbs and extreme-grade immortal artifacts. The cultivation homes of the city were on the north side. There were no shops here but all sorts of spirit gathering and defense formations. Irrelevant people couldn't even get near. This was the city's main source of income. Yimo and Zhenbingyu were stopped by a golden immortal. Halt, this is immortal cultivation home area. Yimo saluted with his fists. I know, we came to rent a cultivation home. The golden immortal said apologetically, the cultivation homes here have all been rented out. Sorry. This made Yimo frown. If they didn't have a place to stay, they couldn't sleep on the streets. If it was outside, he could set up his own cultivation home, but in here, it was impossible. Yimo took out 1,000 immortal crystals to the golden immortal. Friend, can you help? The golden immortal pushed the immortal crystals away reluctantly. It's not that I don't want to help, but the cultivation homes here have all been rented out. If there were free ones, I wouldn't stop you on purpose, and I don't dare to. Yimo still pushed the 1,000 immortal crystals to the golden immortal. Help me keep a lookout. If there's a free cultivation home, rent it for me first. The golden immortal knew that even if a cultivation home freed up, it wouldn't be his turn to make the decision, but these 1,000 immortal crystals were free. You want to rent cultivation home? A crisp voice sounded. A blue-dressed female immortal appeared next to Yimo and Zhenbingyu. Yes, Qian Bei. This female immortal was a great unity immortal. Yimo quickly bowed. The blue-robed female immortal looked at Zhenbingyu and said, such a pretty immortal, I'll help you once. I'm going to leave the city and my rent period is up. You guys can have it. Thank you, Qian Bei. Zhenbingyu reacted quickly and bowed. No need. Let's go. I'll help you do the procedures. Otherwise, as soon as I leave, it would be rented away. It's useless to ask this small golden immortal. The immortal waved her hand. There was an awkward look on the golden immortal's face, but he used the opportunity to explain the rules to Yimo. There were 4 types of cultivation home: top, middle, low and special. The female immortal rented a top-grade home. It was 500k immortal crystals a year. This was high-priced even for great immortals. It would be much cheaper to pay with contribution points, however. Yimo had some immortal crystals, so he rented for 10 years. As for contribution points, he didn't use them. Seeing Yimo just take out millions and renting for a decade, she looked at Yimo with some surprise. After the blue-robed female immortal moved away, Yimo and Zhenbingyu came to the cultivation home. They were very happy with this place. This cultivation home was large and had a garden. There were cultivation rooms, bedrooms, pet rooms, side rooms. There was also a guest greeting room. There were low-level immortal spirit herbs planted outside and a pond. The level 3 immortal spirit gathering formation made the immortal spirit Kai here very dense. The defense formation was level 4 immortal formation. This 5 million is very worth. Yimo nodded. Yes, I really like it here too. That Qian Bei was right. If we weren't lucky we wouldn't be able to rent this place, Zhen Bingyu agreed. It's a pity in such a good environment I can't even cultivate. Zhen Bingyu sighed. The immortal spirit Kai here was much better than even extreme sword sect. Yimo didn't know how to comfort her. After being with her for so long, it was impossible that he didn't care about her at all. Don't worry, I'm just exclaiming. The cultivation method you gave it very good, I can feel a sliver of immortal essence now. Zhen Bingyu immediately knew what Yimo thought and quickly added. Yimo shook his head. He knew that if her spirit roots couldn't recover she couldn't cultivate. That way, he couldn't leave her behind. You stay at the main cultivation room, I'll go to the side room. Zhen Bingyu said, feeling what she said before was inappropriate. No, you use the main cultivation room. This cultivation home isn't rented for us too, Yimo said. Zhen Bingyu was dazed and asked, then where are you going? Yimo wasn't going to go somewhere, at least not very far, before the opening of the immortal well. He just wanted to tell Zhen Bingyu that he was going to the marketplace, but he really just wanted to go see if there are any news of recovering spirit roots there. It was slim but better than doing nothing. Yimo wasn't going to go somewhere, at least not very far, before the opening of the immortal well. He just wanted to tell Zhen Bingyu that he was going to the marketplace, but he really just wanted to go see if there are any news of recovering spirit roots there. It was slim but better than doing nothing. He set up another trap and attack formation at the cultivation home before going onto the streets again. In the city square, Yimo looked at his ranking. 11 million contribution points, ranked 41st on the Heaven Immortal leaderboard. The first on the leaderboard was 16 million, it wasn't Shu Ji but Chu Xiangzi. Yimo didn't care who was first. He felt very safe with his rank. He believed that no matter how he dropped, he wouldn't go below top 50 in this half-month. Yimo still had a few million more beast cores. Altogether, he would have nearly 16 million, but Yimo didn't dare to use it. If he used too much and couldn't stay in top 50 then it would be bad. Yimo walked around in the marketplace and the merchant towers but didn't buy anything. He just wanted to see if there was news of Clearmind Spirit or any immortal spirit herb that could repair spirit root. However, he was unlucky. He had been to a few marketplaces and tens of merchant towers, but every time he asked about spirit root recovery pill and immortal spirit herbs, people looked at him like he was an idiot. Even if there was such a pill, would an abstruse immortal be able to afford it? Luckily he didn't ask for Clearmind Lotus or people would take him for a madman. After one day, Yimo was not only tired but also disappointed. When Yimo walked out another merchant tower, he was stopped by an abstruse immortal primary stage. Immortal friend, please hold up. Yimo turned back and looked at him in confusion. You have some business with me? The abstruse immortal primary stage. That's right, I heard you were searching everywhere for spirit root recovery immortal spirit herb and pills. You have it? Yimo subconsciously asked but then immediately became wary. I don't, the abstruse immortal said. Yimo frowned but said nothing. The abstruse immortal primary stage continued, I don't have this immortal pill but I have the news of a level 6 immortal spirit herb Spirit Red Lotus. Then he looked at Yimo's expression wanting to see what Yimo thought. Yimo knew Spirit Red Lotus of course. It was a level 6 immortal spirit herb, it could be used to concoct the clear disaster pill to purify spirit root and stabilize essence spirit. It would also increase chances of reaching Great Immortal. The Spirit Red Lotus was good but it was a far cry compared to Clearmind Lotus. It was not very useful to Zhen Bingyu. This thing has no use for me. It's just an immortal spirit herb for concocting clear disaster pills. I don't need it. Yimo waved his hand. Don't be in a rush to reject. It's useless to you but it's useful to Immortal Forest Tower. What has this got to do with me? Of course it does. Immortal Forest Tower has a level 7 Immortal Pill Spirit Recovery Golden Pill. It's said that it has some use for recovering spirit roots. The Immortal Forest Tower made a restriction. That is, if you want to buy the pill you must have Spirit Red Lotus. Spirit Recovery Golden Pill? I asked a few pill towers how come none of them knows anything about spirit root recovery pills. It's very simple because they think you can't afford it. Emo frowned. He was an immortal pill great master, but he had never heard of some spirit recovery golden pill. If you don't want it, I'm going. The abstruse immortal saw Emo frown, so he laughed. How many immortal crystals? Emo asked. 10,000 contribution points, the abstruse immortal said. Too expensive. Emo turned to leave. He felt this guy was unreliable. He was going to confirm at the pill tower if there was the spirit recovery golden pill. Seeing this, the abstruse immortal added, lowest 5,000 contribution points. If not them, I'm going. He was about to leave. Emo saw this and stopped him. Tell me the news and I'll give you 500 contribution points. Regardless if this guy was a liar, Emo didn't care about 500 contribution points. It would be bad to miss it, but if this guy didn't agree, then never mind. Deal. Unexpectedly, this abstruse immortal primary stage took out a tattered jade slip to Emo without hesitation. Emo felt he was tricked, but since he agreed, he couldn't regret. He could only swipe 500 contribution points to this abstruse immortal primary stage. Seeing that Emo's jade card was yellow, he smiled. He was very satisfied. How many immortal crystals could a yellow jade card immortal have? To be able to trick 500 contribution points from him was all his skill. The abstruse immortal primary stage immediately disappeared after getting the contribution points. Friend, you got scammed. Wang Liu is the biggest scammer here, a good-hearted abstruse immortal tertiary stage said. Thank you. Emo heard this and knew he might have really been scammed, but this jade slip seemed a little broken. It didn't seem to be newly made to trick people. Emo's spirit sense scanned inside. He immediately saw an immortal spirit herb. The image was very obfuscated and so were the writing. The location was very obscure too, Kongji Ranges. That was around 100,000 kilometers from here, not too far. But the range was big, how could he know where the spirit red lotus was? The image was so obscure that Wang Liu outlined it before it could be seen clearly. He didn't look at the outline, he wanted to forcefully see if this was spirit red lotus before being outlined. Other people wouldn't be able to do this, but his spirit sense was something else. When Emo fuzzily saw the original image, his hands almost shook, nearly crushing this jade slip. Was I thinking too much? Emo put away the jade slip, still feeling his hands were shaky. He clearly saw a clear mind lotus, not spirit red lotus. These two looked similar, but red lotus was dark red while clear mind lotus was snow white. One was level 6 immortal spirit herb, one had no level. Emo had decided to go see. There was still half a month before the Blue Lightning Mountain opened. He could check it out. Thinking about this, Emo had decided to leave the city. He would find a quiet place to study this jade slip first. Emo sped out of Qingmo Immortal City, and just when he wanted to find a place, a blue figure dashed out of the city quickly and left on the flying magic artifact. Emo recognized this figure. It was the kind-hearted great extreme immortal that rented them the cultivation home. She didn't go very far and a grey figure came out. He took out a mirror and scanned before releasing his flying magic artifact, following to the direction the female immortal disappeared to. It was another great extreme immortal. Emo hesitated for a moment and followed over with Blue Moon. Emo was weaker than both of them, but his spirit sense was stronger than both of them. The blue-dressed female immortal was Great Extreme Immortal Primary Stage, while that grey-robed immortal was Great Extreme Immortal Middle Stage. Emo's spirit sense was Great Extreme Immortal Tertiary Stage, plus his cultivation method was good at stealthing, so the two didn't notice him at all. Emo was weaker than both of them, but his spirit sense was stronger than both of them. The blue-dressed female immortal was Great Extreme Immortal Primary Stage, while that grey-robed immortal was Great Extreme Immortal Middle Stage. Emo's spirit sense was Great Extreme Immortal Tertiary Stage, plus his cultivation method was good at stealthing, so the two didn't notice him at all. 4 hours later, the Great Extreme Immortal suddenly sped up. The female immortal immediately noticed she was being followed, but at this time, there was no time to get away. The grey-robed Great Extreme Immortal already stopped the female immortal. Emo immediately hid on the side. This female immortal helped him once. If possible, he wanted to help her too. When he saw the blue-dressed female immortal stop, she didn't seem to be scared of this great extreme immortal and scanned around instead with her spirit sense. "Why are you following me?" The female immortal stared coldly. "The demon seal sword you bought from the auction is my friend's name a price. I need to take it back." The grey-robed immortal said calmly and released a pitchfork. The female immortal sneered, "You were there at the auction. Do you not know the price? If you have to have it, then give it to me the price I bought it for." "Impossible, that's my friend's thing. You want me to take it back with the price of the auction?" The grey-robed great extreme immortal's tone went cold. "What has your friend got to do with me? If you want it, then pay me the immortal crystals I paid for it." The blue-dressed female immortal grunted. "Then don't blame me then." The grey great extreme immortal shook his pitchfork, turning into rings of shadows looming over at the female immortal. The female immortal didn't fear at all. She shook her hands, shaking out countless blue rings. Yimo couldn't even see what her magic artifact was. The female immortal sneered, "You want the demon seal sword? Don't think I don't know what you want. You want me 3-leaf blue jaw." Moments later, the blue rings locked the flurry of pitchfork shadows. The space nearby rumbled. The forest below seemed to have been devastated by a tornado. Hearing this, Yimo realized what was going on. 3-leaf blue jaw was level 6 immortal spirit herb, used to concoct extreme jaw pill. Extreme jaw pill is the main pill for great extreme immortal to break through to great eternity immortal. It can increase the chances by 40%. These two were both great extreme immortal. One could imagine how important the 3-leaf blue jaw was to them. Seeing the force of the battle, Yimo was shocked. He could kill Great Unity Immortal, but he was certain that he was no match for Great Extreme Immortal now. Even if he wanted to help, he didn't dare to help now. If the difference between the two was too high, he would rather not come out. Rumble, the explosions and tearing immortal essence formed a huge explosion whirlpool in a radius of few kilometers. Luckily, the space of the immortal realm was stable, otherwise, with such power, space itself would collapse. Yimo didn't dare to help, but he saw the battle. He thought the female immortal would be weaker than the great extreme immortal, but after fighting for a while, they were evenly matched. The grey great extreme immortal frowned, clearly not expecting this outcome. The female immortal didn't expect this too. There was a sliver of desperation in her eyes. Yimo knew if he helped now, the great extreme immortal probably would be defeated, but he wasn't going to. Although the female immortal helped him once, he didn't know what sort of person she was. If she was someone to annihilate people to steal information, then it would be no good. Just when Yimo was hesitating, the female immortal took out a rune. That rune instantly released terrifying force. Even at more than 10 kilometers away, Yimo could feel the threat of death. Before Yimo could react, the huge explosion sounded. When Yimo recovered his senses, that female immortal was long gone. Such terrifying rune, Yimo was thinking what he should do if he encountered such rune. Even his immortal nirvana body would be heavily injured under such explosion. The grey-robed great extreme immortal also disappeared. Was he killed? Thinking about this, Yimo immediately felt an extreme sense of danger. Without hesitation, he slashed out with Zishu. Crack! Zishu clashed with the pitchfork. Yimo flew back a few hundred meters before stopping. "You didn't die." Yimo stared at the great extreme immortal. This guy instead found where he was and ambushed him. If this great extreme immortal wasn't heavily injured and he reacted fast, he would be dead now. But Yimo wasn't scared much. This great extreme immortal's Kai was messy and quite injured. His power was only about Great Unity Immortal now. This great extreme immortal was shocked. He was heavily injured, but even so, he was still equivalent to a Great Unity Immortal tertiary stage. This guy was a mere abstruse immortal middle stage. He didn't kill him in one move. How was this possible? "Why did you ambush me?" Yimo grabbed Zishu and asked coldly. "Ambush you? You dare to follow me? Of course I'm going to kill you." The great extreme immortal wasn't certain if Yimo followed him. If an abstruse immortal middle stage could follow a great extreme immortal without him noticing, he didn't dare to believe. Yimo frowned. "I follow you? You're clearly much stronger than me. How can you not notice me following?" I just saw people were fighting here, so I came to visit, and then there was an explosion. Seeing Emo deny, the great extreme immortal was confused. He was just guessing before. But regardless, Emo was just an abstruse immortal, he could kill him easily. Feeling the great extreme immortal's killing intent, Emo quickly took out a long sword. WN Bei offended Qian Bei. This sword can be my compensation. Level 7 immortal artifact. The great extreme immortal called out in shock. This was top-grade immortal artifact, even his pitchfork was only a fake level 7. Emo needed this moment of daze. Emo released World Rock and tens of Spirit Sense blades. Even though he was wary of Emo, the great extreme immortal didn't expect a mere abstruse immortal middle stage dared to suddenly attack him. Rumble the World Rock turned into a mountain and smashed down. The great extreme immortal could only barely use the pitchfork to stop the World Rock, but his spirit sense slowed and he couldn't release it in time. Crack. The pitchfork was smashed head-on by the World Rock and immediately cracked. However, it still stopped the World Rock. I'm going to tear. The great extreme immortal spat a mouthful of blood and was furious. However, before he finished, Zishu came over. Shadowless attack, splurge. Zishu sliced on the great extreme immortal. This all happened so quickly that the great extreme immortal didn't have any time to react. Even so, Zishu that should have hacked the great extreme immortal in half only left a deep mark on his chest. Die! The great extreme immortal punched Yemo's chest. Yemo spat a mouthful of blood and flew back, but his immortal nirvana body prevented him from exploding on the spot. Immortal nirvana body? The great extreme immortal who was blooded said in shock. Yemo's immortal essence was rustling around and he couldn't attack again. The great extreme immortal was heavily injured but didn't dare to attack Yemo again. He quickly ate a few pills and was very worried. He never expected an abstruse immortal middle stage would be this terrifying. If he knew, he would definitely run immediately. Yemo's immortal essence was rustling around and he couldn't attack again. The great extreme immortal was heavily injured but didn't dare to attack Yemo again. He quickly ate a few pills and was very worried. He never expected an abstruse immortal middle stage would be this terrifying. If he knew, he would definitely run immediately. Yemo knew he would recover faster than this great extreme immortal, but he didn't dare to let this great extreme immortal recover. If he did, it would be over. Before the pills could even melt, Yemo released Lightning Sword. Rumble Lightning Sword rained down incessantly, and at the same time, Yemo's immortal essence calmed down. The great extreme immortal was already injured heavily. How could he take on this lightning sword that was more terrifying than divine damnation? If he was at his peak it wouldn't affect him, but now this was lethal. He barely released a shield, it would break soon as Yemo's lightning sword seemed endless. The more he was shocked, the more the great extreme immortal realized that he couldn't even run away now. The nearby space was completely locked by Yemo's lightning sword. Yemo's immortal essence gradually recovered. He knew lightning sword wasn't enough to kill a great extreme immortal. He released the World Rock once again. At the same time, Yemo made up his mind. The lightning sword was powerful but it was too scattered, it wasn't able to settle the score. After this he had to condense it, he needed to focus all the lightning sword into one. He didn't lack large-scale attacks, he lacked lethal blows. Feeling Yemo's rising force, there was a sliver of despair in the great extreme immortal's eyes. Never had he thought he would be killed by an abstruse immortal. Where did such a terrifying abstruse immortal come from? I'm going to kill you. Terrifying force came out, the space nearby shook. It was like a black hole. Yemo couldn't even fly away. Not good, this guy was going to self-destruct. Shadowless noticed this earlier and jumped to Yemo first. There was nothing Yemo could do about this. If it was a great unity immortal self-destructing, he could forcefully stop it. Instantly, Yemo took Shadowless into the Golden Page world. Rumble the terrifying explosion turned everything into nothing. Ripples were startled in the space. Nothing could survive in this explosion. Before the explosion finished, Yemo came out of the Golden Page world. His spirit sense scanned to where the great extreme immortal self-destructed. There was a terrifying huge ravine and nothing else. Yemo sighed. He almost got a great extreme immortal storage ring. Realizing he would get nothing, Yimo left without hesitation. With such a terrifying explosion here, it would definitely attract immortals. In less than 5 minutes, a few dashing lights landed here. Great extreme immortal self-destruction, a brown-robed immortal said in shock. The few other immortals looked at each other and nodded, instantly leaving. No matter what it was that caused a great extreme immortal to self-destruct, it wasn't something they could mess with. Yimo seemed to be covered in blood, but he recovered quickly. That great extreme immortal's punch was terrifying, but he had an immortal nirvana body and the great extreme immortal was heavily injured. Now, he had pretty much recovered. After finding a distant valley, Yimo changed a set of clothes. Before he could clean himself, 2 more dashing lights came. Yimo immediately hid on the side. These 2 were abstruse immortal tertiary stage. The taller abstruse immortal asked, "Brother, is it here?" "Yes, look at that small peak. Last time I saw white light dashing into the sky from there. I'm certain that thing is nearby." The other abstruse immortal answered. The tall one frowned and said, "That's the most complicated terrain of the Kongji range. In the depths there are level 4 and even level 5 immortal spirit beasts. It's hard for us to find something." Hearing this, Yimo was surprised. He didn't expect he came to the Kongji range. The 2 spoke for a while and dashed into the depths of the ranges. Yimo didn't come out, he scanned his spirit sense into that jade slip. The more Yimo looked, the more he was excited. He hadn't seen Clearmind Lotus before, but he knew what it was. It had 2 leaves and the middle white part was the seed. The lotus didn't grow on the mountain, it was in a lake. The lake was almost 1 kilometer long and floated in the sky. There was a row of words, Kongji Mountain Clear Lotus, Shijinkong left it. If it's not a Shi family descendant who takes it, please take care of the Shi family a little. Crack the jade slip cracked and turned to dust while a jade piece dropped. Yimo looked at this jade piece in annoyance. It seemed to be one that needed to be activated with blood. There were the words Shijinkong. Yimo realized what happened. Shijinkong found an immature Clearmind Lotus. For some reason, this jade slip didn't fall into the hands of the Shi family. The image was obscure and made many people think it was broken, but Shijinkong did this on purpose. Only those with great eternity immortal spirit sense or higher could see it. Yimo's spirit sense wasn't great eternity immortal level, but he had spirit will 9 transformations. Without a doubt, this was left for the descendants of the Shi family. Yimo was grateful to Shijinkong, but he wasn't going to spend time to find his descendants. Who knew how long Shijinkong had been dead for and who she was? How could he find his descendants? Yimo just needed to find the lake now. Yimo knew it wasn't easy, but suddenly thinking about the words of the 2 abstruse immortals, one of them said white light dashing into the sky. Wasn't that the symptom of the Clearmind Lotus about to reach maturity? The second symptom was white mist. When the second symptom came out, almost everyone would know Clearmind Lotus was ripe. The Kongji mountain range wasn't small, but if everyone knew the Clearmind Lotus was about to mature, even Great Eternity Immortal wouldn't be able to get a share, much less him. Thinking about this, Yimo desperately flew towards where the 2 abstruse immortal went. 2 hours later, Yimo was completely in the depths of the Kongji range. There was nothing else but thorns. There was no sign of those 2 abstruse immortal and Yimo didn't see any lake either. Yimo's immortal essence was rustling around and he couldn't attack again. The great extreme immortal was heavily injured but didn't dare to attack Yimo again. He quickly ate a few pills and was very worried. He never expected an abstruse immortal middle stage would be this terrifying. If he knew, he would definitely run immediately. Yimo's immortal essence was rustling around and he couldn't attack again. The great extreme immortal was heavily injured but didn't dare to attack Yimo again. He quickly ate a few pills and was very worried. He never expected an abstruse immortal middle stage would be this terrifying. If he knew, he would definitely run immediately. Yimo knew he would recover faster than this great extreme immortal, but he didn't dare to let this great extreme immortal recover. If he did, it would be over. Before the pills could even melt, Yimo released Lightning Sword. Rumble lightning sword rained down incessantly, and at the same time, Yemo's immortal essence calmed down. The great extreme immortal was already injured heavily. How could he take on this lightning sword that was more terrifying than divine damnation? If he was at his peak it wouldn't affect him, but now this was lethal. He barely released a shield, it would break soon as Yemo's lightning sword seemed endless. The more he was shocked, the more the great extreme immortal realized that he couldn't even run away now. The nearby space was completely locked by Yemo's lightning sword. Yemo's immortal essence gradually recovered. He knew lightning sword wasn't enough to kill a great extreme immortal. He released the world rock once again. At the same time, Yemo made up his mind. The lightning sword was powerful, but it was too scattered. It wasn't able to settle the score. After this he had to condense it. He needed to focus all the lightning sword into one. He didn't lack large-scale attacks, he lacked lethal blows. Feeling Yemo's rising force, there was a sliver of despair in the great extreme immortal's eyes. Never had he thought he would be killed by an abstruse immortal. Where did such a terrifying abstruse immortal come from? I'm going to kill you. Terrifying force came out, the space nearby shook. It was like a black hole. Yemo couldn't even fly away. Not good, this guy was going to self-destruct. Shadowless noticed this earlier and jumped to Yemo first. There was nothing Yemo could do about this. If it was a great unity immortal self-destructing, he could forcefully stop it. Instantly, Yemo took Shadowless into the golden page world. Rumble the terrifying explosion turned everything into nothing. Ripples were startled in the space. Nothing could survive in this explosion. Before the explosion finished, Yemo came out of the golden page world. His spirit sense scanned to where the great extreme immortal self-destructed. There was a terrifying huge ravine and nothing else. Yemo sighed. He almost got a great extreme immortal storage ring. Realizing he would get nothing, Yemo left without hesitation. With such a terrifying explosion here, it would definitely attract immortals. In less than 5 minutes, a few dashing lights landed here. Great extreme immortal self-destruction, a brown-robed immortal said in shock. The few other immortals looked at each other and nodded, instantly leaving. No matter what it was that caused a great extreme immortal to self-destruct, it wasn't something they could mess with. Yemo seemed to be covered in blood, but he recovered quickly. That great extreme immortal's punch was terrifying, but he had an immortal nirvana body and the great extreme immortal was heavily injured. Now, he had pretty much recovered. After finding a distant valley, Yemo changed a set of clothes. Before he could clean himself, 2 more dashing lights came. Yemo immediately hid on the side. These 2 were abstruse immortal tertiary stage. The taller abstruse immortal asked, "Brother, is it here?" "Yes, look at that small peak. Last time I saw white light dashing into the sky from there. I'm certain that thing is nearby." The other abstruse immortal answered. The tall one frowned and said, "That's the most complicated terrain of the Kongji range. In the depths there are level 4 and even level 5 immortal spirit beasts. It's hard for us to find something." Hearing this, Yemo was surprised. He didn't expect he came to the Kongji range. The 2 spoke for a while and dashed into the depths of the ranges. Yemo didn't come out, he scanned his spirit sense into that jade slip. The more Yemo looked, the more he was excited. He hadn't seen Clearmind Lotus before, but he knew what it was. It had 2 leaves and the middle white part was the seed. The lotus didn't grow on the mountain, it was in a lake. The lake was almost 1 kilometer long and floated in the sky. There was a row of words, Kongji Mountain Clear Lotus, Shijinkong left it. If it's not a Shi family descendant who takes it, please take care of the Shi family a little. Crack the jade slip cracked and turned to dust while a jade piece dropped. Yemo looked at this jade piece in annoyance. It seemed to be one that needed to be activated with blood. There were the words Shijinkong. Yemo realized what happened. Shijinkong found an immature Clearmind Lotus. For some reason, this jade slip didn't fall into the hands of the Shi family. The image was obscure and made many people think it was broken, but Shijinkong did this on purpose. Only those with great eternity immortal spirit sense or higher could see it. Yimo's spirit sense wasn't Great Eternity Immortal level, but he had Spirit Will 9 transformations. Without a doubt, this was left for the descendants of the Shi family. Yimo was grateful to Shi Jingkong, but he wasn't going to spend time to find his descendants. Who knew how long Shi Jingkong had been dead for and who she was? How could he find his descendants? Yimo just needed to find the lake now. Yimo knew it wasn't easy, but suddenly thinking about the words of the two abstruse immortals, one of them said white light dashing into the sky. Wasn't that the symptom of the clear-mind lotus about to reach maturity? The second symptom was white mist. When the second symptom came out, almost everyone would know clear-mind lotus was ripe. The Kongji mountain range wasn't small, but if everyone knew the clear-mind lotus was about to mature, even Great Eternity Immortal wouldn't be able to get a share, much less him. Thinking about this, Yimo desperately flew towards where the two abstruse immortal went. 2 hours later, Yimo was completely in the depths of the Kongji range. There was nothing else but thorns. There was no sign of those two abstruse immortal, and Yimo didn't see any lake either. A day later, Yimo still didn't find the two abstruse immortal, but he encountered a level 4 immortal spirit beast. If he wasn't far stronger than ordinary abstruse immortals, he would have died to the beast already. This made Yimo suspect whether those two abstruse immortals were eaten by immortal spirit beasts. A day later, Yimo still didn't find the two abstruse immortal, but he encountered a level 4 immortal spirit beast. If he wasn't far stronger than ordinary abstruse immortals, he would have died to the beast already. This made Yimo suspect whether those two abstruse immortals were eaten by immortal spirit beasts. 3 days later, Yimo still hadn't found the two abstruse immortals nor the lake. He was very disappointed. Just when he wanted to give up, he thought of Shadowless. In the Mist Demon Palace, it was because of Shadowless that he found the place. Thinking about this, Yimo immediately let Shadowless out and told Shadowless he wanted to find the Clear-Mind Lotus. He even showed Shadowless what it looked like. Shadowless didn't disappoint Yimo. He immediately took Yimo around the twists and turns and found 11 level 3 immortal spirit herbs and 3 level 4 immortal spirit herbs. Another day passed and Yimo stopped at a crevice. He had been here once, but he found this place was different. This crevice was natural and crossing it would bring him to the other side of the valley. Over countless years, quite some immortals must have passed through here, but Yimo found that the weeds and low-level immortal spirit herbs seemed fresher here. Yimo carefully scanned his spirit sense here and soon found that there was a battle here. The fresh low-level immortal spirit herbs were cultivated by magic to cover the traces of the battle. After reaching this conclusion, Yimo's heart skipped rapidly. Looking at these immortal spirit herbs, they were just cultivated a few days ago. This was in accordance with the time the two abstruse immortals came in. They fought a battle and still used means to cover up here. The only possibility was that there was some stealth formation here. Yimo began to search this place inch by inch, but half a day later he still found nothing. With his near level 4 formation great master skill, he still couldn't see what was here. How did the two abstruse immortals see something? Suddenly, Shadowless sent him a strong message. Yimo immediately came to where Shadowless told him to go. There was a huge boulder here. If one didn't look carefully, he wouldn't be able to see what was special about this. Yimo noticed that the immortal spirit Kai below here was extremely dense. Yimo carefully moved the rock and the space nearby immediately changed. Yimo moved the stone back and the space returned to what it was. Natural formation. Yimo was overjoyed. This was a natural high-level stealth formation. Yimo moved that huge rock and the natural formation showed before him. With Yimo's formation skills, he easily found the formation door and disappeared within the crevice. After going in, dense immortal spirit Kai came and a faint mist hovered above his eyes. Before Yimo could see clearly, an extremely strong smell came before him. Without hesitation, Yimo smashed with the world rock. A sharp shriek sounded. A black figure was smashed away and instantly disappeared in this mist. This was a level 4 immortal spirit beast that wanted to ambush Yimo. Yimo didn't have the mood to check up on that level 4 immortal spirit beast. He stared dazedly at the white lotus before him. Clear-mind lotus, Yimo saw it clearly. two crisp green leaves decorating the snow-white lotus seed in the center. It floated above a lake surrounded by mist. It released extremely beautiful luminosity. This place wasn't a lake but actually the surface of extremely dense immortal spirit Kai. Yimo really wanted to move the lake into his golden page world, but when he looked around at the natural formation he gave up this idea. If he really did this, the nearby area would collapse and might bring immortal kings to check it out. Yimo scanned his spirit sense around and didn't see the abstruse immortals who came in before. It seemed they were killed by the level 4 immortal spirit beast. Without hesitation, Yimo came to the clear-mined lotus and used an extremely large jade box to collect the lotus. As for the root, Yimo didn't touch it. This was the best place to grow the clear-mined lotus. Perhaps countless years later, a new clear-mined lotus would form. Yimo didn't stay here any longer and left. Half a day later, Yimo came back to his cultivation home. Zhenbingyu still seemed to be in cultivation. Yimo was very satisfied with coming to Zone Pro Heaven. He got Spirit Will 9 transformations and the clear-mined lotus. Zhenbingyu would definitely be overjoyed to recover. This was even something of the dreams for Yimo. Yimo knew that after Zhenbingyu could recover, he would be leaving alone. He knew that the cultivation resources he needed weren't something ordinary people could afford. When other people got large sums of cultivation resources, they could find a place to go into solitary cultivation, but he couldn't. He had to keep going around searching for top-grade resources. It was because of this that he cared so much about the Blue Lightning Immortal Well and used all his means to go to the Ping Piaro Plains to slaughter demonic immortal spirit beasts so he could reach the top 50. "You're back." As soon as Yimo came in, Zhenbingyu greeted him. She saw Yimo seemed to be in a good mood and had a smile on his face. Her dejected mood lightened up quite a bit. She knew that Yimo arranged her to stay here, but he didn't cultivate here because he wanted to leave the city. But she had been used to staying with Yimo, and now that she stayed alone in the cultivation home, she couldn't settle her mind. Just thinking that Yimo was about to leave alone, she was full of anxiety. "Come with me." Yimo pulled Zhenbingyu into the cultivation room. "Guess what happened this time?" Yimo smiled at Zhenbingyu. "Are you planning to leave the city after the Blue Lightning Mountain opens?" Zhenbingyu asked dejectedly instead. When Yimo rented this place for 10 years, she knew that Yimo wouldn't be taking her. She could feel it. Yimo still had a lot of secrets and he didn't seem to want to expose these secrets in front of her, so it was inconvenient to take her. Yimo found the clear-mined lotus. He came back to bring joy to Zhenbingyu. Zhenbingyu stayed all these years with him, so even though she didn't express the loneliness in the depths of her heart, Yimo understood it. He did indeed plan to find a place to reach Great Unity Immortal and leave the city in search of new cultivation resources, but he was caught off guard by her question. Zhenbingyu's personality changed a little after staying with Yimo, but in her bone, she was still a cold woman. Zhenbingyu's personality changed a little after staying with Yimo, but in her bone, she was still a cold woman. Hearing Yimo's word, she sighed and suddenly took off her dress and walked up to Yimo, hugging him. "I know I owe you a lot, but I may never be able to repay you. Before you go, you can have my body, my virginity essence and something else." Yimo didn't know what the other thing was, but he never intended to duo cultivate with Zhenbingyu. "Martial Sister Bingyu?" "Wait." Yimo quickly pushed her away, but when her hands touched Zhenbingyu's silky skin, he dazed for a moment. He had seen Zhenbingyu naked before and even helped her dress and carry her around everywhere, but he had never had any emotions for her. Zhenbingyu was indeed pretty, even a little prettier than Susu. But Zhenbingyu wasn't his woman. The moment he ascended to the immortal realm, he wouldn't have any more woman in his heart. But Yimo only dazed for a brief moment and pushed Zhenbingyu away. "Martial Sister Bingyu, you misunderstood me." Zhenbingyu looked at Yimo in confusion but didn't get angry. To her, doing that thing with Yimo was to satisfy his lust and pay back what she owed him. Although she was a little curious what it would feel, but it didn't mean she liked doing that. "Didn't you say your Dao heart was different to mine?" Zhenbingyu couldn't resist asking. Yimo rubbed his forehead. "Martial Sister Bingyu, that doesn't mean this. I'm saying that that thing can only be done between people who love each other. I already have people I love, so even if I'm going to do it, It would be with them, not you. So, Zhen Bingyu smiled. That smile was enough to make any woman lose confidence. Even Yimo sighed. If this woman smiled more, she would be beautiful to the extreme. Them. Is I because you love a lot of people? Zhen Bingyu asked plainly. Yimo felt his nose awkwardly. Yes, they're a part of my life. I ascended to the immortal realm first partly for them. Then would you have any more? Zhen Bingyu frowned and asked. Yimo shook his head no. Yimo didn't explain anything. He indeed wouldn't be interested in any other woman anymore, even Zhen Bingyu. Although his Dao heart was different to Zhen Bingyu, but it was very firm. For him, the people around him, he needed to reach the peak of Dao. I know that after you leave this time we might never be able to see each other again. So, I really want to give the only thing I can give to you. My spirit root is dissolved. I would never have an opportunity this lifetime. If the spirit root can still be repaired, then, Yimo smiled and pulled her dress up. Other than saying goodbye today, I came to cure your spirit root, so you can cultivate again. What? Zhen Bingyu was dazed. Her mind was blank. If other people said this, she wouldn't believe at all, but Yimo said this, she trusted it 100% already. Yimo had never lied to her all these years. It's true because I got the clear mind lotus. Yimo set up a few restriction and took out a jade box. The snow-white lotus was in the middle and a faint refreshing aroma came. Zhen Bingyu was dumbfounded. It really was clear mind lotus. She had never expected Yimo would be able to find it. With this, it meant that her future accomplishment would be far greater than before. Not only would her spirit root be repaired, it would also be upgraded. With Yimo's body refinement cultivation method and 3-birth god water chant, Zhen Bingyu didn't dare to think what level she would reach. Yimo didn't say anything and just waited on the side. He knew Zhen Bingyu needed time to absorb this information. After a long while, Zhen Bingyu came back to her sense. She stared at Yimo with fiery eyes and felt her heart was wavering. Who else would give her this other than her dearest family? Much less Yimo, they were just using each other. The only dearest person she adored was her master. Yimo, Zhen Bingyu murmured and couldn't control the excitement in her heart and embraced Yimo. The first time it was to thank Yimo as she knew she didn't have long to live. Yimo was going to leave. But this time, she really couldn't control it now. It wasn't just for this clear mind lotus. They were just a team and she forced Yimo to team up with her. After she was heavily injured, Yimo didn't abandon her. He took her into the heaven domain ship, took her to the void to find void flying snow and then went off alone to search for clear mind lotus. She realized that if she didn't recover, Yimo wasn't going to abandon her. Her Dao heart was firm, but even so, a mark was made on it. Feeling Zhen Bingyu's body growing warmer, Yimo also felt some fire in his heart, but he soon calmed down. He couldn't take the feelings. If he slept with her, he wouldn't be able to remove her from his life. Plus, he didn't fall in love with Zhen Bingyu. Calm down first, recover your spirit root. I'm indeed going, but if you don't recover I can't leave assured. Yimo patted Zhen Bingyu's shoulder. He knew that if a firm-hearted woman like Zhen Bingyu fell in love, it was uncontrollable. The current Zhen Bingyu wasn't the real her, she lost her immortal essence and her Dao heart was loose. If this continued, her Dao heart would be ruined and it wasn't good for the both of them. I understand. Zhen Bingyu slowly calmed down and stared at Yimo answering. She knew Yimo stopped her breaking Dao heart. She was very grateful. After Yimo left, she would go out to search for her great Dao. If one day she could stand at the peak, she would go find Yimo and tell him the feeling of that instant. If she can't even reach great Dao, everything else would be pointless to bring up. Taking over the clear mind lotus, Zhen Bingyu didn't say thank you. She knew Yimo didn't need that. The lotus turned into immortal liquid that Zhen Bingyu slowly consumed. Zhen Bingyu sat and didn't move, a calm mist emitted from her body enveloping her in an aroma. Meanwhile, her power rose slowly. Yimo knew Zhen Bingyu's power was beginning to recover, her spirit root was not only repaired but purifying. From foundation establishment state to golden core state, and in a short while, Zhen Bingyu was at hollow immortal. The immortal spirit Kai gathered above her head and turned into immortal essence nourishing her meridians and dantian. Yimo didn't stay here. He didn't know if Zhen Bingyu would regain her past Dao heart, but he knew she had her path and so did he. Yimo left a storage ring before Zhen Bingyu and quietly left her cultivation room and this cultivation home. He wouldn't be coming back here, at least not for a few years. Zhen Bingyu slowly opened her eyes, a long-gone sense of power came. She was only abstruse immortal primary stage before, but after changing her cultivation method and using the clear mind lotus, her power rose to abstruse immortal primary stage. The nirvana succeeded too. She reached immortal nirvana body. For the first time, Zhen Bingyu couldn't resist tearing. She thought she had completely lost hope, but Yimo brought her such powerful hope. She immediately wanted to find Yimo but found Yimo wasn't in the cultivation room. There was only a storage ring before her. There was a troubled feeling in her heart. She couldn't express this feeling. She hadn't fallen in love before, she didn't know if this was that feeling. She scanned her spirit sense in the storage ring. Yimo left the flying snow orb. There was even 3 great unity immortal pills and tens of bottles of other pills. These pills saved her countless years. Yimo didn't even take away all the beast cores. He left behind 2 million worth of contribution points. Zhen Bingyu walked to the cultivation home door and stared at the road that she walked over with Yimo a few days ago. This was the final day before the Blue Lightning Immortal Well opened. The biggest square, Blue Lightning Square, was full of people. There were more people than usual. This was the final day before the Blue Lightning Immortal Well opened. The biggest square, Blue Lightning Square, was full of people. There were more people than usual. People who had some inside knowledge knew this time was different as 3 of the big 10 immortal kings of Zhongpiaro Heaven came. This included Su Huan Immortal King, Kaifeng Immortal King and Ping Ju Immortal King. There were few immortal kings in Zhongpiaro Heaven, yet 3 came this time. Clearly something was about to happen. Yimo was sitting in a spirit rest tower on the side of the square, drinking. His only purpose here was to wait for the immortal well to open and then leave. He was also watching the leaderboard, trying to ensure that he wouldn't be falling below top 50. He asked other people and knew that the Heaven Immortal leaderboard was very stable. But now, Yimo realized it was utter bullshit. His rank went from 30 or so down to 41st. Now he was 47th. If things continued like this, he would definitely end up below 50. Luckily he prepared 3 million contribution points of beast cores, but Yimo didn't use them now. He would use it as soon as he went below 50. Yimo had been sitting in here for half a day but he didn't ask about what was happening. It had nothing to do with him. However, on a table not far from him, a few immortals' discussion caught his attention. One of them spoke of his name. It seems that even if that Mo Ying didn't cheat, I wouldn't be able to get into the top 50. I was 51st but now I'm 63rd, a white-faced abstruse immortal tertiary stage said with great disappointment. 3 other people sat on his table. An extremely pretty and seductive female immortal, she was abstruse immortal tertiary stage 2. The other 2 was one long-bearded and the second dark-skinned, they were all abstruse immortal tertiary stage. Yeah, the Heaven Immortal leaderboard has never been so strange. It's the last few days but the rankings are so volatile. Look, even Shu Ji who was first is now 27th. The female immortal frowned. Something is probably going to happen in the immortal city, right? The dark-skinned abstruse immortal said. But what has that got to do with the leaderboard? The long-bearded abstruse immortal shook his head. Hua Mountain, look at the notice. The dark-skinned abstruse immortal pointed at the notice board next to the leaderboard. Yimo saw the notice too. After the opening of the Immortal Well this time, the top 50 of the Heaven Immortal leaderboard will be representing Zhongpiaro Heaven to go to Yuan La Heaven and participate in the Dao Seeking competition. Isn't Yuan La Heaven the #1 heaven domain of the Middle Heaven domains? It's said to be equivalent to a Grand Heaven domain. I heard that the Dao Seeking tournament was the top 50 of the abstruse immortal rank. Why did it become contribution rank this time? Is there a difference? Which of the top 50 on the contribution leaderboard isn't from the abstruse leaderboard? But Yuan La Heaven is too strong. It said that even if you could go before, rarely could people enter Dao Seeking Tower. How can the Yuan La Heaven not be strong with the Dao Seeking Tower? Even some Grand Heaven Domain immortals want to go to Dao Seeking Tower. If you enter Dao Seeking Tower, it would be you would definitely become Great Immortal and have 10% extra chance of reaching Immortal King. No wonder so many people want top 50 this time. I want to go to Yuan Le Heaven's Dao Seeking Tower. I'd be willing to pay any price. Yi Mo didn't expect this turn of events. He knew Yuan Le Heaven, of course. It was said that it was on par with ordinary Grand Heaven domains. It was the most powerful Middle Heaven domain. Yi Mo only knew it was powerful but not why it was powerful. Now it seemed to be due to that Dao Seeking Tower. He would go ask someone what it was later. In order to ensure that the prodigies of Zong Piaro Heaven aren't left out, the contribution leaderboard from 51st to 100th can challenge the top 50. Each person only has one chance to challenge. If the defender loses, he would lose his spot to the challenger. The defeated don't get any opportunity to challenge again. A successful defender will not be challenged again. But a challenger who succeeds needs to accept one more challenge if challenged. The eventual top 50 can cultivate in the Immortal Well for half a year before representing Zong Piaro Heaven in the Dao Seeking Tower tournament. Yi Mo saw his rank go down to 53rd, but he wasn't worried. He just needed to be in top 100. No wonder the leaderboard changes so fast. They all want to go to Yuan Le Heaven, the female immortal said. Then she thought of something and said to that white-faced abstruse immortal, "Xinghong brother, you still have a chance. As long as you're in the top 100 you can challenge the 50th. You can challenge that Mo Ying guy." "Hehe, Mo Ying, look, his name has fallen below top 50 already," the long-bearded abstruse immortal said. The white-faced abstruse immortal laughed. "I didn't expect I still had a chance. Let these people cheat, I'll greet them on the battle stage." Yi Mo didn't care about what they said. He walked up to an abstruse immortal middle stage and saluted with his fists. "Friend, may I ask what that Dao Seeking Tower is?" The abstruse immortal looked at Yi Mo in confusion, wondering why someone didn't know what the Dao Seeking Tower was, but he quickly said, "There are 9 levels to the Dao Seeking Tower. It's said that immortals can create their own Dao art and God art. The laws of the universe are gathered in the Dao Seeking Tower. Immortals can easily combine all they've learnt into their own God art." Yeah, it's because the Dao Seeking Tower is so insane and all the prodigies in Yuan Le Heaven can go there that Yuan Le Heaven is stronger than other heaven domains. But luckily there's a Dao Seeking Tower tournament every 1,000 years. Otherwise, the other heaven domains would only be getting worse and worse, one abstruse immortal said. The first abstruse immortal shook his head. Although Yuan Le Heaven's power is directly related to the Dao Seeking Tower, its cultivation resource and immortal spirit Kai isn't something other heaven domains can compare with. They didn't become the number 1 middle heaven domain due to luck. Yi Mo quickly asked, "Why are there 9 levels of the Dao Seeking Tower?" The abstruse immortal said, "The 9 levels are based on each person's understanding of Dao. Usually, hollow immortals can only stay at level 1. If a hollow immortal can reach level 2, he would be a prodigy amongst prodigy. Abstruse immortal usually stay at level 3, rarely can one reach level 4. Can the immortals of Yuan Le Heaven go to Dao Seeking Tower at any time? Of course not. Only a few rare prodigies can go in, or once you satisfy some requirements." "What's the requirements?" "That I don't know, but I only know it's not easy. Although there's 50 from Zong Piaro Heaven going there, but it would be extremely lucky if 1 or 2 of them can even get in." Hearing this, Yi Mo realized that the Dao Seeking Tower was pretty much made for him. Yi Mo felt his lightning sword could slaughter large amounts of low-level enemies, but against people who were stronger than him in cultivation level, it couldn't settle the score. He felt it last time when he fought that great extreme immortal. He wanted to go into solitary cultivation to refine his lightning sword. This Dao Seeking Tower was perfect for him. Yi Mo felt his lightning sword could slaughter large amounts of low-level enemies, but against people who were stronger than him in cultivation level, it couldn't settle the score. He felt it last time when he fought that great extreme immortal. He wanted to go into solitary cultivation to refine his lightning sword. This Dao Seeking Tower was perfect for him. Other than his lightning sword, his illusion cloud sword technique was the same. Although he lacked the 9th strike, Yimo knew it was because he was at a bottleneck and didn't want to create a ninth strike. His illusion cloud sword technique also needed to form into a god art. Otherwise, he would have some difference between top masters. That Yang Jiutian gave Yimo a strong warning bell. As for the world rock, it was worse. He just used his immortal essence and spirit sense to smash. Yimo also realized later that the reason his world rock wasn't as strong as Yang Jiutian's black mist wasn't because his world rock was weak, but that his world rock didn't have its own god art while Yang Jiutian's mist was a god art. Yimo had made up his mind that he must go to the Tao-seeking tower. As more and more immortals came to the blue lightning square, the immortals sitting in the spirit rest tower also rushed down. From others' discussion, Yimo just realized that the tournament for going into the Blue Lightning Immortal Well had begun. Yimo left the Immortal Rest Tower as well and put all his beast cores into the contribution Jade card. He didn't need to save beast cores now. If he was squeezed out of top 50, he would fight for a spot. A few million contribution points were thrown into the Jade card. Yimo's Jade card immediately became 14 million. Yimo noticed his name. His rank rose from 53rd to 21st. It didn't seem he needed to challenge anyone now. He just needed to accept someone's challenge and he would be in the top 50. Everyone was watching the leaderboard right now. Mo Ying suddenly rose to 21st and immediately caught everyone's attention. Who is this guy? How come I've never heard of him? I saw him before, he only got on the leaderboard in these few months. A month ago, his name drastically rose up. He did it again this time. Just how many immortal crystals did he spend on buying beast cores? Without a doubt, he's the disciple of a powerful being or he has a powerful sect behind him. Perhaps he's the young master. Don't challenge this person, even if you beat him, who knows if people would come looking for trouble with you. Yeah, such a person isn't ordinary. It's 20 immortal crystals a contribution point, now it's 80 to 100 a contribution point. Who can afford this many beast cores at such a time? Hearing these discussions, Yimo shook his head. He had no support, he got all of his beast cores from his hard work. Just when he wanted to change places, Yimo heard a loud explosion. A few immortals landed on the stage. Yimo looked at the abstruse immortal primary stage next to him and asked, "Who are these people? They don't seem ordinary." The immortal saw Yimo's cultivation level was higher than his and quickly said, "Friend, you just got to Zone Pro Heaven, right? The person wearing the grey hair tie is the #1 master of Zone Pro Heaven Abstruse Immortals, Ouyang Yi. He's the first of the Zone Pro Heaven Abstruse rank. He can definitely get a spot in the Tao Seeking tournament." Yimo looked at Ouyang Yi's name, 7th on the contribution ranking. The one standing behind him wearing blue robes is the 4th of the abstruse rank, Chu Xiangzi. The female immortal next to Ouyang Yi is the Purple Rain Goddess. She's not only the top beauty of Zone Pro Heaven but also second on the abstruse ranking. See that abstruse immortal with a long sword on his back. His Shuji, abstruse rank number 9. This abstruse immortal primary stage was clearly proud of these people and admired them. Chu Xiangzi was contribution ranking number 1. Shuji was originally first on the contribution ranking but now he was almost 30. Purple Rain Goddess was ranked 9th on the contribution ranking. It seemed they didn't care about the contribution ranking at all. To them, they could get whatever rank they wanted. These abstruse immortals were at least abstruse immortal tertiary stage, most of them were peak stage. There was not a single abstruse immortal middle stage like Yimo. A few more dashing lights came and through this abstruse immortal primary stage, Yimo knew that they were also ranked ahead on the abstruse ranking. Pretty much all the people on the abstruse ranking came. Ouyang Yi and Purple Rain Goddess seemed prideful. Yimo could feel the superiority coming from the bottom of their hearts. As though standing here wasn't their honor but the honor of the Blue Lightning Square. Yimo could tell this superiority was probably due to their background, perhaps they were from status immortal sects. Chu Xiangzi and Shu Ji seemed calm, they didn't act like they were superior. Especially that Shu Ji, Yimo felt he had more potential than Ouyang Yi. That long sword hanging behind his back didn't seem ordinary too. People who were similar gathered together, immortals were the same too. The top 10 of the abstruse immortals formed their own circle, the Great Unity Immortals formed their own circle too. Solo cultivators like Yi Mo or the lowest abstruse immortals could only listen in to them talking. Even if you added something, people would ignore you. Yi Mo didn't want to participate in such high talks. Yi Mo walked around the square. There were quite some shops and stalls, but not a single thing he was interested in. Despite this, he did buy quite some maps of the 11 Middle Heaven domains. Half a day passed quickly. As more and more people came, 3 rainbow clouds landed in the center of the square. Yi Mo couldn't tell their exact power, but he was certain they were immortal kings. Any one of them could kill him with a finger. This feeling made Yi Mo very annoyed. He calmed himself down and cast these thoughts aside. The square fell silent as the 3 immortal kings came. Yi Mo had seen one of them, the green-robed Su Huan immortal king. The other 2 would probably be Kai Feng and Ping Ju immortal king. Standing in front of Su Huan immortal king was a white-robed immortal king. His face was square and he seemed to be the head of the 3 immortal kings. He nodded to the immortals before waving his hand, and a yellow light was released. The yellow light instantly turned into a huge stage, and the 3 immortal kings were on the stage now. The white-robed immortal king then said, "I believe everyone knows me. I'm Zong Piaro Heaven Kai Feng immortal king. Other than the Blue Lightning immortal well, I came here for a more important thing, and that is the Yuan La Heaven Dao Seeking Tournament." Kai Feng immortal king sighed. "We from Zong Piaro Heaven have always been participating in Yuan La Heaven's Dao Seeking Tournament, but only one person has truly gone in the Dao Seeking Tower, and that was me. Pity, I could only stay around level 3 at the time. I can say that the reason I could become Immortal King was due to the great help from Dao Seeking Tower. So, I believe everyone now knows just how much help the Dao Seeking Tower has for cultivation." The square immediately burst into discussion. There were billions of immortals, but which one of them could break through to Immortal King? Kai Feng waved his hand. "Calm down everyone." The scene fell silent immediately. Kai Feng nodded. "But the Dao Seeking Tower is the number 1 Dao Tower of Yuan La Heaven. Even people from Yuan La Heaven need to be selected to go in, much less us. Yuan La Heaven gave the other Middle Heaven domains 500 spots. We have 50 spots. The tournament is very hard, but even if one person gets in, I would be very happy." Top 50 Tournament. Top 50 Tournament. Su Huan Immortal King got up and said, "There are 11 Middle Heaven domains, although each heaven domain is boundless and even Immortal Kings can't reach many corners, but combined, there can be 30 people who go in the Dao Seeking Tower. In the countless years of Zong Piaro Heaven, no one has been able to enter other than Kai Feng Immortal King. Every time we go to Yuan La Heaven, we speak quieter than other Immortal Kings. So, we hope someone can shine out in the tournament and bring some honor to Zong Piaro Heaven, even if it's just 30th." All the immortals in the square looked down in shame. However, those in the abstruse ranking had firm-looking eyes, clearly planning to get into the top 30. Su Huan Immortal King changed the topic. "The 50 abstruse immortals going into the Immortal Well will be the people going to Yuan La Heaven. I believe everyone knows the rules now. Let the match begin. From 51st to 100th, any of you can challenge the top 50. Then, Su Huan Immortal King and the other 2 Immortal King left the stage. 2 floating rankings appeared above the stage. The left one was top 50 and the right one was 51st to 100th. Each challenge, the names on the 2 sides could switch. Yi Mo looked at his name, it was still 21st. He wasn't worried, he didn't fear anyone who challenged him. Just when everyone was thinking when the challenge would begin, a short fat abstruse immortal peak stage flew to the stage and saluted with his fists. "Heaven Immortal Sects Gong Yu ranked 73th challenges 50th Luo Xiong." Although the contribution points ranking had nothing to do with power, those ranked really high would indeed be much stronger. As soon as this voice sounded, a chiseled face abstruse immortal landed on the stage. "Luo Xiong accepts your challenge." Then he sliced out with his word. Gong Yu was prepared, released a black mace bringing dark rays everywhere and clashing with Luo Xiong's sword light. There were Immortal King restrictions on the stage, so no matter how much the 2 fought, the stage was very sturdy. Luo Xiong's sword rays hacked on the stage but couldn't even make any marks. The 2's immortal essence was evenly matched. About an hour later, the mace's dark rays loosened. Gong Yu seemed to be unable to last long. Indeed, in half a minute, Gong Yu was hacked away by Luo Xiong's sword light. A wound came from his shoulder to his lower waist. I admit defeat. Gong Yu immediately got off the stage. Luo Xiong stopped attacking and quickly ate a pill at left. He was a defender and thus kept his top 50 spot. First round, Luo Xiong wins, a great eternity immortal said. The next to get on was a bald-headed abstruse immortal. He immediately said, Heaven Immortal Sect Contribution Rankings 51st Mi Hua Challenges 47th Li Nuohua. You took what was mine, now give it back. The bald-headed abstruse immortal was full of killing intent. From his tone, the people realized that Li Nuohua probably stole Mi Hua's rank through cheating. An angry-looking female immortal landed on the stage. Li Nuohua accepts your challenge. The female immortal attacked faster than Luo Xiong and released a golden cloth before she finished talking. She stage was illuminated in gold. Some weaker heaven immortals couldn't even look with their eyes. The light was too piercing. I'm not scared of you. Mi Hua roared and his black staff turned into a black dragon. It was obvious that Mi Hua was much stronger than that Gong Yu. In 5 minutes, Li Nuohua was struck in the back by the dragon's tail and spat a mouthful of blood falling off the stage. Yi Mo could tell that heavy injury was intentional. If she didn't do that, she might die. Mi Hua came up with killing intent. Second round, Mi Hua's victory, top 50 defender. The Great Eternity Immortal announced. Mi Hua would still need to fight again if challenged. Yi Mo knew that it would be best to challenge Mi Hua now if someone wanted to. Mi Hua was also injured a little in the fight. The other immortals could clearly see this too. Before Mi Hua stood steady, an abstruse immortal peak stage got up. Heaven Immortal Sect Contribution Ranking 64th Ji Sheng Challenges 47th Mi Hua. Ji Sheng also attacked with his magic artifact immediately. Mi Hua could barely block it, but Ji Sheng pursued the attack. Blood splashed on the stage. Kai Feng Immortal King shook his head. This method was a good tactic, but it was low. Even if Ji Sheng won, he wouldn't get very far and his future wouldn't be that great. Yi Mo believed the same. But different than Kai Feng Immortal King, Yi Mo felt Ji Sheng's future wouldn't be huge, not because he used this tactic but due to his mentality. Ji Sheng just wanted every little advantage he could and didn't have a heart of pursuit. If it was him, he might use this way to beat Mi Hua, but his goal wasn't this victory but to go into Blue Lightning Well to cultivate. Yi Mo would use everything possible for his cultivation, but Ji Sheng just purely wanted to use this advantage to beat Mi Hua. Yi Mo couldn't feel any perseverance towards cultivation on him. In a short while, Mi Hua was heavily injured. Looking at his hateful eyes, Yi Mo knew that there was an extra person on this guy's must-kill list now. Third round, Ji Sheng's victory, defender top 50. Brother Zhenghong, I suggest you don't challenge that Mo Ying. Even without him you would fall below the top 50. Now that Yi Mo can stay at 21st, he definitely has the support of his sect. The skinny abstruse immortal was trying to persuade Ji Zhenghong. Never mind, I just want a rank. I'll let that Mo Ying be happy for now. When I have a chance I won't let this person go. Ji Zhenghong nodded. After 30 rounds, no one challenged Yi Mo. Yi Mo knew that this was due to no one knowing him. If someone knew that 21 St Mo Ying was an abstruse immortal middle stage, in less than a second someone would challenge him. 2 days later, the challenges were over and the top 50 were decided. Everyone knew this tournament wasn't completely fair, but it could indeed let the strong people stay. Yi Mo was ranked 21st and was never challenged at all. Yi Mo stood with the top 50. When those failed immortals saw Yi Mo, they hammered their chests in frustration. They didn't expect there was an abstruse immortal middle stage in the top 50. Yi Mo stood with the top 50. When those failed immortals saw Yi Mo, they hammered their chests in frustration. They didn't expect there was an abstruse immortal middle stage in the top 50. Yi Mo felt a little awkward too. He was the only abstruse immortal middle stage in this 50 people. Those few immortal kings noticed too. Especially Su Huan, Immortal King. She looked at Yimo strangely. Yimo noticed the red-robed female immortal who came with Su Huan too. She was in top 50 and abstruse immortal tertiary stage. She wasn't challenged too. The teleportation formation to the Blue Lightning Mountain was on the east side of the city. Yimo and them followed a great eternity immortal to the palace. There was 100 people here, 50 abstruse immortals and 50 great immortals. Other than these 100 people, many other immortals could go into the immortal well, but they would need to wait till after the 100 people went in. The top 50 of Heaven Immortal ranking get in the teleportation formation. After entering the immortal well, choose a place for your cultivation. When all of you get in, the palace would close immediately. The Great Eternity Immortal reminded. Before anyone could say anything, the teleportation formation lights shimmered and in a few seconds Yimo and them were swept away. Moments later, Yimo found that he and all the abstruse immortals appeared in another palace. There were tens of small doors in here. A few abstruse immortals quickly chose a small door and entered. So this was it, each person had a set cultivation ground. Seeing more and more people go in, Yimo pulled an abstruse immortal peak stage and saluted with his fists. Immortal friend, can people have divine damnation here? The abstruse immortal smiled. Of course, if you reach great immortal, congratulations. Then the abstruse immortal quickly found a door and went in. Immediately, there was only Yimo left in the palace and only a small door left. Yimo quickly went in there. After he went in, the small door immediately disappeared and shut itself. Walking in tens of meters, Yimo found an immortal pond circulating with white mist. A dense immortal spirit Kai surrounded Yimo. Yimo moaned in comfort. This was the best cultivation grounds. The pond wasn't big, there was a round jade cushion in the center. Although the well was called Blue Lightning Immortal Well, it actually had no element. But Yimo was certain this immortal well was much better than the one he found before. This was a diluted immortal pond and the immortal spirit Kai was still this dense. If one cultivated directly in the well it would be even better. But the time is too short, only half a year. At most, he would be able to reach abstruse immortal tertiary stage. What a waste, Yimo sighed as he flew onto the seat and scanned around with his spirit sense. He immediately found that the immortal spirit Kai came from the cushion below him. If he took out time formation disc, Yimo was certain he could reach abstruse immortal peak stage in such a place and even use this pond to suck over most of the nutrition from the immortal well, but in here he didn't dare to take out the time formation disc no matter what. He didn't even dare to use the golden page world too. Time formation disc had time law. If an immortal king looked over, he would see it. Yimo admired those who were abstruse immortal peak stage. If they had Great Unity Immortal Pill then they might be able to break through to Great Unity Immortal here. Wait, Yimo suddenly thought of something. What if someone going to the tournament reached Great Unity Immortal here? He thought of what that abstruse immortal peak stage said. Some of them would have to break through to Great Unity Immortal if they continued to cultivate here, so why did they still come in? Yimo slapped his head and realized. He wasn't prepared at all. They couldn't cultivate here but still went in. Clearly they only had one purpose and that was to collect the pond water. Then they would be able to cultivate wherever they wanted. Yimo sighed. He knew that to refine the pond water here own must have formation. Those abstruse immortals must have prepared all sorts of formation discs and storage magic artifact. He was the only one not prepared. Luckily he didn't need all that. He was a level 3 immortal formation master and had the golden page world. Realizing this, Yimo stopped cultivating. He started setting up formation and completely barricaded this place before collecting the well. Even if it couldn't stop the immortal king spirit sense, it would at least let him know. Then, Yimo started studying formation that could purify the water. It was hard for others to quickly study a new formation but not for Yimo. A month later, he could set up a level 3 purifying immortal formation. This was much more powerful than other people's formation discs. Plus, Yimo didn't set up just one. He set up more. The flow of liquid from the pond went from drops to a small stream and then a big stream into the golden page world. When Yimo set up the 4th purifying immortal formation, Yimo knew he didn't need to cultivate nor set up formations anymore. The water he would get in half a year was definitely enough for him to reach abstruse immortal peak stage. The effect of what Yimo did began to show up in other immortal ponds. Those abstruse immortals sensitive to immortal spirit Kai began to feel less immortal spirit Kai. Clearly they didn't expect someone to be this shameless setting up a level 4 purifying immortal formation. They guessed that everyone was cultivating and thus the immortal pond was being used up. Yimo slowly changed all the level 3 immortal formation to level 4 immortal formations. At the 4th month, Yimo felt the pond water lessen again and even became scarce. He knew he couldn't keep purifying anymore. He had collected almost all the pond water here, he should leave some for others. Yimo put away all the formations and even removed all the spirit sense shielding formation and acted like nothing happened and began cultivation. 3 days later, a powerful spirit sense scanned past Yimo's spirit pond. It didn't stop and left after one scan. Yimo was frightened, however. If he didn't think of leaving some for others, his spirit sense barrier formation would be found even if the purifying formations weren't found. Then, he would be the number 1 suspect. There was one more month. Yimo just stopped cultivation. The density of the pond water was very low now, it wasn't much help to his cultivation anymore. So he just spent this month studying formation. There was one more month. Yimo just stopped cultivation. The density of the pond water was very low now, it wasn't much help to his cultivation anymore. So he just spent this month studying formation. On the Blue Lightning Mountain, some immortals collecting herbs had been teleported out. The 3 immortal kings stayed on the mountain. Ping Ju Immortal King, what did you see just then? Su Huan saw Ping Ju Immortal King scan the cultivation palace of the Heaven Immortals and Great Immortals and frowned. The 2 palaces had spirit sense shielding function. Even if an immortal king wanted to scan in, he would need help from the formation. Kai Feng also looked at Ping Ju. The immortal spirit Kai of the well suddenly became scarce and they immediately knew. That's why they came to check. Before, even when half a year was up, the immortal well wouldn't become this low in purity. However, this time there was only 4 months and the pond became this scarce. Ping Ju was confused himself. I saw nothing strange, just some abstruse immortal peak stage using formation to separate the pond water. Impossible, if they just use formation to separate pond water, that speed wouldn't even be as fast as their cultivation. How could it let all the immortal pond density drop this low and even affect the immortal well? Kai Feng frowned. Perhaps the immortal spirit Kai of the well itself lowered. I think more time needs to be in between the next opening of the well. Otherwise, this would only damage the immortal well. Su Huan said heavily. I agree. The Blue Lightning Immortal Well was one of the most important resource of Zhong Pro Heaven. There was a lot at stake. A month or so later, Yimo and the Immortals were teleported to the square. Although Yimo took more than half of the well, most of the Immortals who went in still grew in power. Yimo was the only person who didn't improve at all. He was still abstruse immortal middle stage. People said nothing, but some people still shook their heads at Yimo. It was such a waste for him to use such a good resource. Anyone else would be able to reach abstruse immortal peak stage or at least tertiary stage in half a year, but his power was absolutely the same. The great eternity immortal leading them in was there waiting for them. He said loudly, the immortal well cultivation ends now. Everyone has half a day to buy the pills and magic artifact you need. Half a day later, we will be taking Heaven Domain Immortal Ship to Wenchong Heaven Domain and then take teleportation formation to Yuanla Heaven from there. Everyone couldn't wait to go out. Some abstruse immortal peak stage wanted to sell their purified pond water to exchange for pills. Others wanted to use their contribution points. They also needed to bid their sect farewell. For Yimo, he needed to spend all of his contribution points. He could exchange them at other heaven domains, but it wasn't much useful at Yuanla Heaven. He only had tens of thousands of immortal crystals on him. He needed to exchange all these contribution points to immortal crystals. Yimo could only go to big immortal towers to exchange immortal crystals. That would make him lose out a lot of immortal crystals, but it was impossible to exchange 10 million contribution points in a rush in the black market. Even if there was such black markets, Yimo didn't dare to go. One mistake and he could lose his life. The biggest tower in Blue Mo Immortal City was Shuangju Tower. Their immortal pill and magic artifact business was the best. When Yimo walked in, he saw a few people he knew already. They were all abstruse immortal who went to the immortal well. They were clearly preparing for the Dao-seeking tournament. When they saw Yimo come in, only one abstruse immortal middle stage nodded to him. The rest didn't seem to see him. To them, an abstruse immortal middle stage could only rely on help to get into the immortal well. Such person going to Yuanla Heaven was a waste. Yimo didn't care what others thought of him at all, he just came to the third level of the Shuangju Tower. It was filled with high-level immortal spirit beast and materials. Yimo was very interested in them. Yimo bought a large pile of immortal spirit herb and immortal materials above level 4. Even the tower rarely sees a mass buyer like Yimo, so they just sent a female immortal to follow Yimo everywhere and attend to him. The abstruse immortal middle stage who nodded to Yimo couldn't resist coming to Yimo immortal friend. Although we're representing Zong Pro Heaven to go to Yuanla Heaven, we can't stay there. If you spend all your contribution points here, you would need to earn more when you come back. Yimo dazed for a moment, he didn't expect one couldn't stay at Yuanla Heaven. He was planning to not come back. Can one not stay in Yuanla Heaven? Not even if you go into Dao-seeking Tower? Yimo frowned and asked. The abstruse immortal smiled bitterly. Of course you can if you enter the Dao-seeking Tower, but how many can go into the Dao-seeking Tower? Even the prodigies of Yuanla Heaven can rarely go in. There's 100 people from Yuanla Heaven in the tournament, so in total, there are 600. One could stay behind if he gets top 200. But other than Martial Brother Ouyang Yi and Purple Goddess and them, the rest has no hopes. Yimo realized that this guy meant he had no hopes of getting into top 200. Yimo was very confident, however. He might not get first, but a top 30 should be fine. The reason he didn't dare to say he was number 1 was because the immortal realm was boundless and there were too many prodigies. Who knew if there would be a second and third Yang Jiutian? Thank you, immortal friend. Yimo saluted with his fists. The abstruse immortal saw that Yimo didn't really get it into his brain but didn't care and just left with the other abstruse immortals. The female immortal treated Yimo with even greater respect, hearing he was competing at Yuanla Heaven. Yimo was taken to a grand tower and here he saw cultivation methods marked at 50 million contribution points, magic artifact marked at 40 million contribution points. Yimo couldn't afford any of them. Will illusion crystal? Yimo's eyes focused on a fist-sized aqua material. This was level 7 immortal material. This was the best thing to upgrade his Z-shoe with. The Will illusion crystal could make the magic artifact feel ethereal and be traceless. This is why the Will illusion crystal is 10 times more expensive than other level 7 immortal materials. Yes, master. This is level 7 immortal material, Will illusion crystal. It's one of the best materials for forging top-grade immortal artifact. Holding a magic artifact made with Will illusion crystal can increase your power by 10%, the female immortal said. Yimo looked at the price, 63 million contribution points, so expensive. This was almost 100 million immortal crystals. The low heaven domain really couldn't compare with middle heaven domain. A black heaven domain immortal ship left Zong Pro Heaven and went into the void. A black heaven domain immortal ship left Zong Pro Heaven and went into the void. Yimo was in a luxurious room now. The immortal spirit Kai here was extremely dense and there were free immortal fruits and wines. He could go onto the deck at any time. This was his first time enjoying such luxury. The 50 abstruse immortals going to Yuanla Heaven all had such rooms and had 3 immortal kings to protect them. They could ask immortal king questions at any times. Almost all of them tried to ask the 3 immortal kings all sorts of questions. Sometimes, something that troubled them for many years would be easily explained by an immortal king. This was unimaginable for any abstruse immortal. But there was only one person who didn't want such benefit, and that was Yimo. Other than asking Ping Ju Immortal King a moderately hard question, he spent most of his time in his room. If it wasn't to avoid suspicion, he wouldn't ask a single question at all. After he timidly asked a question that many abstruse immortals can answer, other abstruse immortals were speechless towards him. The question wasn't easy, but as an abstruse immortal who could go to Dao-seeking tournament, asking such question was not good enough. Yimo cowered behind the others and didn't seem to dare to ask a second question after seeing the contempt in others' eyes. When he returned to his room, he finally breathed easy. He just had too much pressure facing 3 immortal kings. Now that he asked a question and was sneered at, he wouldn't be suspected even if he doesn't come out again. Yimo spent all of his 14 million contribution points, and other than exchanging for materials, he also got 50 million immortal crystals. He gave the last 1,000 contribution points with the jade card to the female immortal serving him. Is that abstruse immortal middle stage Mo Ying? Ping Ju Immortal King's spirit sense scanned Yimo, who dazedly sat in his room and shook his head. Su Huan Immortal King nodded yes. I especially researched about him. He seemed to be lucky and found many beast cores that people hid. That's how he reached the contribution points ranking, his own solo cultivator. He doesn't seem old, but his mind is too weak and can't take pressure. He doesn't dare to ask a second question just because he was laughed at. He doesn't even dare to face those who laugh at him. He really can't achieve much in the future. If his willpower was a little stronger and dared to ask us more questions, he would be able to reach abstruse immortal tertiary stage before Wenchong Heaven. This is such a waste of a spot. Ping Ju Immortal King shook his head. Kai Feng Immortal King laughed. Never mind, even if it wasn't a waste, one spot if useless to us. Ping Ju nodded and said there are quite a few good seeds this time. That Ouyang Yi, Purple Rain Goddess, Shu Ji, Chu Xiangzi, and Su Huan Goddesses Milan are all good. I'm quite hopeful towards this tournament. Perhaps this time we can break a record. Kai Feng Immortal King laughed. Ping Ju Immortal King, I think you missed one. That Mang Yong Abstruse Immortal Tertiary stage is very good. When he challenged someone, he didn't even use his main magic artifact and defeated his opponent. When someone challenged him, he also won easily. You're saying that abstruse immortal with a red mark on his forehead? Ping Ju Immortal King asked. That's right, him. Kai Feng Immortal King nodded. On the deck, 30 or so abstruse immortal were looking into the void. Doing this could not only improve one's understanding of magic but also enlighten one's heart and make it easier to break through in solitary cultivation. Did you see Ping Ju Immortal King's face? That Mo Ying wasted a spot. The 3 immortal kings aren't happy. Someone spoke about Yimo Sai, an abstruse immortal middle stage. I don't know where he got so many contribution points. Just look at his cowardly act and you know he's not from a big sect. Wouldn't it be better to ask him to transfer his spot to someone else? Look at the question he asked. Should that be something asked by an abstruse immortal participating in the Dao-seeking tournament? My face was burning with embarrassment after he said that. Yeah, because of his question, the 3 immortal kings are doubting our overall ability. Never mind, that guy is quite self-conscious and stopped asking. He still doesn't come out of his room now because he knows shame. Plus, no one wants to miss out on the Dao-seeking tournament. You can't blame him. Ji Zhenghong just realized now that Yimo didn't have any background. He was regretful. He should have challenged Yimo. A pale yellow-dressed female immortal suddenly sneered. Talking behind people's backs is very honorable. Then, the yellow-dressed female immortal left the deck and went back into her room. We didn't say anything about her, why does she care? The round-faced abstruse immortal tertiary stage grumbled. I think we misunderstood the 3 immortal king. They wouldn't be unhappy just because of Mo Ying's question. It's because Mo Ying didn't dare to ask another question after everyone looked down on him. That's why they are disappointed. An abstruse immortal peak stage stood out and said. Everyone knew this guy, he was abstruse ranking 4th Chu Xiangzi. Everyone agreed to him after he said this. Some people even wanted to call Yimo out and tell him about this, but soon they gave up on this thought. They were afraid Yimo would disappoint the 3 immortal king masters. Mo Ying. Shu Ji murmured this familiar name, remembering Mo Ying's ranking rising non-stop and eventually beating him. But this cheating guy was worthless to him. The immortal ship flew rapidly in the void. The abstruse immortals would either go look at the void or ask the immortal kings questions. One person was of exception, and that was Yi Mo. Everyone knew why he didn't dare to come out now. Later people completely forgot about him. 3 months later, the ship stopped at the teleportation formation to Yuan-La Heaven. Finally, everyone saw Yi Mo again. Many people had gathered at the teleportation formation. These people came from other heaven domains and also was going to the Dao-seeking tournament. Only Wen Chong Heaven has teleportation formation to Yuan-La Heaven in the middle heaven domains. If they didn't take teleportation formation, it would take more than a decade to fly to Yuan-La Heaven. The teleportation formation to Yuan-La Heaven was super long-distance teleportation formation. Other than immortal kings, everyone else would feel dizzy. Even Yi Mo was of no exception, but he was in a much better state than others. However, Yi Mo pretended he was worse than others. He heard that some people would stay in the Dao-seeking tower for 200 years. To him, he would just complete his god arts and then leave. He would never go back to Zhong Pro Heaven again. Yi Mo and them rested for a few days before coming to the Dao-seeking square outside the Dao-seeking tower. The square was filled with people. This square was much larger than the Blue Lightning Square. Ouyang Yi and them were prodigies in Zhong Pro Heaven, but in Yuan-La Heaven, they were nothing. Zhong Pro Heaven's abstruse ranking was weaker than ordinary immortals at Yuan-La Heaven. They clearly knew this, so they didn't act like they were superior as before. Yi Mo listened and was scared that an immortal monarch would suddenly come. Immortal kings couldn't see through his secrets, but what about an immortal monarch? Blood-clothed immortal Xue Chengxian is here. See, that is heaven sword immortal Fu Lingtian. Oh, Xianlen goddess is here too. Ouyang Yi and them were talking quietly on the side. Yi Mo wanted to laugh. They were glorious like that before, but now they switched positions. From other people's discussions, Yi Mo soon knew who blood-robed immortal Xue Chengxian was. He was the most murderous abstruse immortals in Yuan-La Heaven. He can easily kill Great Unity Immortal. Those who offended Xue Chengxian would be killed no matter how far he ran. This person also liked to bring his anger on others. If you offend him, even after you were killed, he would still kill your friend if he met him. From other people's discussions, Yi Mo soon knew who blood-robed immortal Xue Chengxian was. He was the most murderous abstruse immortals in Yuan-La Heaven. He can easily kill Great Unity Immortal. Those who offended Xue Chengxian would be killed no matter how far he ran. This person also liked to bring his anger on others. If you offend him, even after you were killed, he would still kill your friend if he met him. It was this that Xue Chengxian got the title Blood-Robed Immortal. He has a spirit hound that can sniff you out no matter where you went. Heaven Sword Immortal Fu Lingtian was the most talented sword immortal in Yuan-La Heaven. He was top 10 of the Yuan-La Heaven Immortal leaderboard. He could also kill Great Unity Immortal, but unlike Blood-Robed Immortal, he has his principles. Xianlen Goddess was the most proficient at using god arts in the Yuan-La Heaven Immortals. Under her god art, even Great Unity Immortal would die. She was also someone no one dared to mess with in Yuan-La Heaven. She is cold and prideful, but as long as you don't offend her, she usually wouldn't look for trouble. Every prodigy of Yuan-La Heaven seemed to have their own glory. Yi Mo was enjoying the good story time when suddenly a fierce force rose from the square and pressed down. Yi Mo was shook and immediately looked down, taking back his force and trying to calm himself down. It wasn't just Yi Mo, but all the immortals in the square stopped their discussions. The powerful force seemed to have blown past like a breath, and a grey-robed immortal landed on the main stage and disappeared. Soon, tens more immortals landed, and Yi Mo found that the 3 immortal kings of Zhong Pro Heaven were among them. Tens of immortal kings gathered at the Dao-seeking square. That pressure seeped out again. Even though the immortal kings didn't do it intentionally, other immortals didn't dare to breath loudly anymore. Yi Mo breathed easy. He noticed that the grey-robed middle-aged immortal was also an immortal king, but probably immortal king tertiary stage. He didn't know if this scene was worth an immortal monarch coming, or if there was immortal monarch in middle heaven domains at all. No one dared to discuss, and Yimo didn't know who this grey-robed immortal king was. The grey-robed immortal king scanned everyone and said loudly, "I'm Eula Heaven Yi He Immortal King, the person responsible for the Dao-seeking tournament." Yimo felt like his clothes were being burned when He Yi Immortal King scanned him. Yimo was shocked. This He Yi Immortal King was too scary. The Freedom King was nothing compared to this He Yi Immortal King. This Dao-seeking tournament is very important. Everyone who had participated in Dao-seeking tournament knows that only heaven immortals can participate, but the results affect whether the great immortals and status immortals of each heaven domain can go into Dao-seeking tower. Yimo didn't understand this. He had never heard about this part before. This tournament will be divided into 3 rounds, a total of 600 participants. Because this time it happens to be the opening of the 7 refined tower that opens every 100,000 years, the first round of the tournament will be trial in the 7 refined tower. Everyone can form teams, but each team must not have more than 7 people. Before he finished, He Yi Immortal King's voice was covered by all the discussions. Yimo had never heard of the 7 refined tower, but from the looks of the immortals around him, this 7 refined tower seemed scary. Meanwhile, the Yuan La Heaven participants were rather calm. From their discussion, Yimo knew that the 7 refined tower was divided into 7 levels but never opened until every 100,000 years. Each level was a crazy and bloody world. The higher up you go, the more dangerous. Most ordinary immortals rarely survive. When everyone's discussion died down a little, He Yi Immortal King pressed down with his hands and the discussion stopped completely. The 7 refined tower is indeed very dangerous, but the fortunes there are amazing too. The immortal spirit herb and rare materials are very precious. Anything you get you can keep. There are 7 levels. The team that passes the first level gets 1 point, second level 5 points, third level 10 points, fourth level 20 points, fifth level 40, sixth level 80, seventh level 160 points. Of course, this isn't the only means to get points. There are a lot of 7 refined stones in the tower. The more color the stone has, the more points. 1 colored stones are worth 1 point, 7 colors are worth 7 points. I need to remind everyone that no matter how many colored stones, there would be immortal spirit beast guarding them. Of course, everyone who goes in can get a transmission rune. You can crush it in time of danger to come out. After the match ends, teams will lose 2 points for every member that dies. The square was dead silent now. There was a hole in the rules. This meant that it allowed 2 teams to attack each other. If one team kills someone from the other team, not only would they get the 7 refined stones, but they would also make the team lose points. Yimo didn't care about this. He was thinking about what the 7 refined stones were. He Yi Immortal King said calmly, the top 10 teams of the first round can each get a Heaven Immortal spot into the Dao-seeking tower. The second and third can get a Great Immortal spot on top of that. The first squad can also get a Status Immortal stop on top of all that. Yimo finally understood why the Dao-seeking tournament was related to status and great immortals going in the Dao-seeking tower. It was decided based on the results of the first 3 rounds. Kai Feng Immortal King didn't say this because he knew it was impossible for Zhong Pro Heaven to get this. But Yimo could guess that the Immortal Kings didn't want to give up on this. Seeing everyone understand, He Yi Immortal King nodded. All the participants now come with me to teleport inside the 7 refined tower. I hope everyone can get a good rank and contribute to your heaven domain so your Immortal Kings didn't send you over in vain. Yimo looked at the 3 Immortal Kings from Zhong Pro Heaven and could understand why they felt bad. Every time, they could only see other Immortal Kings go in while they had to go home. When the contestants came to the 7 refined tower square, there were hundreds of thousands of people here and more were coming. Some merchant towers set up signs saying buying Immortal Spirit Beast cores from 7 refined tower and high-level Immortal Spirit Herb as well as materials for a high price. Some sects also put up signs wanting to take in Prodigy Immortals from the 7 refined tower. Some talented immortals would definitely want to stay at Yuan La Heaven, and a good sect was important. People needed to form squads before going in, and the contestants soon formed their own teams. Yimo found the Zhong Pro Heaven soon formed 7 squads, with each squad having 7 people. No one wanted to be with him. Everyone looked at Yimo and had a strange face. Even the tens of immortal kings looked at him. Although they knew no one wanted to team up with him, probably due to his weak power, but even so, he shouldn't be ignored by everyone. Just how bad was he with people? Everyone looked at Yimo and had a strange face. Even the tens of immortal kings looked at him. Although they knew no one wanted to team up with him, probably due to his weak power, but even so, he shouldn't be ignored by everyone. Just how bad was he with people? The other heaven domains had squads of 4, 5, 6, and 7. Only Zone Pro Heaven was all 7 people squads. The weakest guy was left out. Yimo looked down and said nothing. He acted as though he was very uneasy, as though he was worried about going in 7 Refined Tower alone. In fact, he really didn't want to be exposed in front of everyone like this. It was fine if they were below status immortal, but with this many immortal kings staring at him, if they all used spirit sense to check him, he would be over. Luckily, most people had sympathy for Yimo, who looked down and said nothing. Some people was contemptuous that someone like Yimo came to waste a spot. Some immortal kings never thought of using spirit sense to check Yimo, this abstruse immortal middle stage. The 3 immortal kings from Zone Pro Heaven shook their heads too. They weren't happy with the contestants abandoning Yimo, but also disliked Yimo's timid attitude. The first round hasn't even begun and Zone Pro Heaven was being laughed at. Shuji saw Yimo and shook his head. If Yimo didn't get this result by cheating, he might help Yimo say something, but Yimo deserved this. That yellow-robed female immortal also looked at Yimo and was speechless too. One really couldn't sympathize with him. No wonder no one wanted to team up with him. Everyone was trading maps of the tower while he looked down, not daring to scan his spirit sense out. Without a map, he wouldn't even be able to get up to level 2. He Immortal King seemed to know the Zone Pro Heaven Immortal Kings were a little awkward, so he broke the silence and said, please collect jade cards as a team and enter the teleportation formation. Yimo looked at his team card. It was 79. There was nothing else. Yimo knew that with this jade card, it could record his team's progress just like contribution points jade card. Other teams had many people, but every person still had a jade card and they were interconnected. Crushing the jade card would teleport you out and the points you got would count towards the team's points. There were 106 teams. The teleportation formation was very fast and every 10 seconds, one team was teleported away. In less than half an hour, all the teams had been teleported in. Yimo was the last as he had the least person in the team. In order to not make the immortal kings of each domain disappointed early, the screen outside only showed the team's rank and points but didn't point out which heaven domain it belonged to. In less than 5 minutes the 11st squad got 1 point and became first. When Yimo was teleported in, he landed in a fiery red thorn brush. There was no one around him. This was a random teleportation. As soon as Yimo landed, 2 red level 1 thorn immortal spirit beast attacked. Yimo casually slashed with Zishu and the 2 immortal spirit beast were killed. However, there was no points for killing BS in here. Yimo found a rock and scanned his spirit sense out standing on it. There were swamps, thorns, brushes everywhere. All sorts of insects ravaged the place. Some strange immortal spirit herb grew in strange corners, but they were all low-level immortal spirit herb. Yimo felt that the first level of this tower was boundless. His spirit sense seemed to have been suppressed to 10,000 kilometers radius. Yimo frowned. The contestants of Yuanla Heaven would know where the entrance to level 2 was and had a map. He had nothing. He didn't know that every team had a map except for him. Yimo didn't want to stay at level 1, even if he found 7 refined stone, the color was too low. It was a waste of time. This level was probably prepared for Hollow Immortal and Golden Immortals. Yimo released Blue Moon, wanting to find a place out. It would be best to find a team from Yuanla Heaven and get a map from them. Yimo just flew out a few hundred kilometers and a powerful whirlpool appeared in his spirit sense. Yimo was fraught and quickly maneuvered Blue Moon a few kilometers away before dodging that whirlpool. When he scanned his spirit sense back, the whirlpool was gone. This was only first level. It seemed he needed to be careful. Yimo didn't get off Blue Moon but just expanded his spirit sense out. Half a day later, Yimo still had no idea about the entrance to level 2. He killed quite some flying immortal spirit beast on the way. There were level 1 and level 2. Some of them had stealth capabilities, but that was nothing to Yi Mo. Which idiot is this? He dares to fly this fast on flying magic artifact in the 7 refined tower? Yi Mo found the 4 before they found him and rushed over without hesitation. Haha, it's that idiot that no one wants to team up with. Pity he doesn't have much on him. He's coming towards us. His flying magic artifact isn't bad. Yi Mo came before them. For friends, may I ask if you have 7 refined tower map? Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Yes, but you need to pay some price. One sharp-chinned abstruse immortal sneered. Yi Mo frowned. I know. How many immortal crystals? We don't need immortal crystals, just leave behind your flying magic artifact. Oh, and your storage ring. Another abstruse immortal laughed. In their eyes, Yi Mo was here to give them storage ring and flying ma. I'll add something, your life will be kept here too. Otherwise, we Tang Yarrow Heaven can't take the blame. Another abstruse immortal said. Seeing this, Yi Mo immediately decided to kill them. There were no points in level 1 and yet they still wanted to kill him. They were purely trying to rob him. Tang Yarrow Heaven gave Yi Mo a very bad impression. The ship he was on with Zhen Bingyu was towards Tang Yarrow Heaven. In that case, I'll give this stone to you. Yi Mo sneered and World Rock was released. A black mountain was dominant immortal essence smashed down. You're asking to die. Seeing Yi Mo dare to attack, these abstruse immortals were furious. This loner abstruse immortal middle stage dared to attack them. Rumble. Rumble. The abstruse immortal tertiary stage who was attacked by Yi Mo barely managed to release a shield, but this shield was like paper to the World Rock. It was instantly torn apart. Splurge, the World Rock just paused a tiny moment before falling on this abstruse immortal tertiary stage. Yi Mo planned to kill with one strike, he didn't hold back at all. Even the abstruse immortal's storage ring was pulverized. Then, the World Rock smashed at the second abstruse immortal. Yi Mo wasn't worried, he believed more than one of them would have the map. The other 3 reacted at the same time. Other than that abstruse immortal being smashed, the other 2 was joyful instead. They could tell that this black rock was a powerful magic artifact. If they killed Yi Mo, this would be theirs. The 2 abstruse immortal tertiary stage released their magic artifact without hesitation and attacked Yi Mo at the same time. Seeing this, Yi Mo breathed easy. He was scared someone would try to run at this time. If someone did, he wouldn't be able to kill them all. He wasn't from the Zone Pro Heaven. He came to the tournament for himself. If the 3 immortal kings of Zone Pro Heaven didn't protect him, it would be big trouble for killing Tang Yarrow Heaven contestants. His immortal essence flooded into the World Rock while hacking over with Zishu. The second abstruse immortal being attacked by the World Rock released a defense spell magic artifact, but it still couldn't stop Yi Mo's World Rock. Yi Mo's immortal essence was far beyond ordinary abstruse immortal, plus he was using the World Rock. Crack. The bell magic artifact shattered. The abstruse immortal tertiary stage wasn't able to withstand the World Rock's terrifying power and his body was smashed to a pie, his essence spirit was devoured by Shadowless. Yi Mo killed 2 abstruse immortal tertiary stage instantly in one move. The other 2 were very shocked and knew things weren't good. Yi Mo was able to release Zishu while using the World Rock, meaning that he had far superior spirit sense and immortal essence than them. If they still didn't run now, they would be idiots. That abstruse immortal peak stage saw Yi Mo's strength earlier, and just when he was about to crush his jade card and run, he found he couldn't. Sword domain. He was bound by sword domain. In his shock, the abstruse immortal peak stage burned his immortal essence like crazy. He just needed 1 second, no, half a second. The illusion cloud domain kill strikes SWPRD domain easily tore through his sword veil. While he was recovering, the sword ray easily cut apart his body in less than half a second. Seeing Yi Mo instantly kill 3 people, the last abstruse immortal was completely dazed. His hands were shaking, he wanted to take out his jade card and crush it, but he found his sea of consciousness was in chaos. He couldn't even hold the jade card. Zishu turned around in a purple beam and sliced the last guy from waist in half. Yimo's face was very pale after instant killing 4 people. If the 4 didn't run, he wouldn't need to use such efforts, but if he relaxed a little bit, there would be someone to teleport out. The hardest kill was the 4th person. He used his spirit sense blades to attack this abstruse immortal and make him unable to activate the Jade card. This was very taxing on his spirit sense. Luckily, this was an abstruse immortal tertiary stage. If it was an abstruse immortal peak stage, Yimo would probably spit a mouthful of blood and still might not be able to lock the person now. He put away 3 storage ring. Yimo didn't stop at all and immediately left the scene. 15 minutes later, Yimo set up a simple stealth formation in the forest and took out 3 storage ring. As he expected, other than pills and immortal crystals, there were 3 maps. The Jade slip was very simply, however, and only had where to find the entrance to the next level. It also had some basic knowledge about the 7 refined tower, to avoid void whirlpools, and some stealthed immortal spirit beast. It also said where the 7 refined stones would most likely occur. It was usually at dense spirit kai places while immortal spirit beast guarding. This was enough for Yimo. He packed away everything and left as quickly as possible. He was going to level 2. The first level was useless to him. Yimo thought the 7 refined stone would be a forgery material usually hidden underground on some rock. But when he found a 7 refined stone, he knew he was too naive. It was a material indeed, but it grew on a plant with no leaves nor flowers. There was indeed a level 2 immortal spirit beast guarding it. The single-colored stone had 7 sides and each side was even in size. Yimo scanned with his spirit sense and couldn't tell if it was forgery or pill concoction material. Yimo even captured a sliver of fire element in this. The rock was yellow on one side and grey on the other sides. Yimo didn't throw it into the Jade card, he threw it into his golden page world. He felt he needed to study this. If he didn't have enough points in the end, he could throw it back. Yimo found 3 more rocks on the way and threw them all into the golden page world. Half a day later, Yimo found the entrance to the 2nd level. This was just a small teleporting whirlpool. Yimo's spirit sense scanned a few teams were coming over this way too. He didn't stop and went in the whirlpool quickly. Moments later, he was teleported to level 2. The immortal spirit kai here was much denser than level 1, but the space seemed more volatile. Yimo found that after reaching level 2, his Jade card showed 1 point. This meant that 79th team had 1 point. Yimo threw a 7 refined stone inside and the points became 2. Yimo didn't stay at level 2 for long. There were level 3 immortal spirit beast and even 3 colored 7 refined stone, but this wasn't where Yimo wanted to stay. At level 2, he found 6-7 refined stones and went into level 3. Yimo wasn't just searching for 7 refined stones, he found the immortal spirit herbs here were very old. Even the level 2 and level 3 immortal spirit herb were tens of thousands of years old, some even 100,000 years. Yimo stayed at level 3. Level 3 had level 4 immortal spirit herb and level 4 immortal spirit beast. From this, it was obvious that at level 4 there would be level 5 immortal spirit beast. A week later, Yimo killed more than 10 level 4 immortal spirit beast and got tens of level 4 immortal spirit herbs and many level 3 immortal spirit herb. He also got 9 3-colored 7 refined stones and 1 4-colored 7 refined stone. There were a few times he almost encountered other teams, but he carefully avoided them. Yimo didn't want to meet with these people, he wanted to go to level 4. Before going there, Yimo decided to increase his power to abstruse immortal tertiary stage. The 7 refined tower square screen showed clearly the points of the teams. The first ranked team, Team 11, was at 83 points. The second was Team 35, who was 81 points. The lowest ranked Team 41 was 0 points. Why is there still a 0-point team? Someone asked. Without a doubt it's that Zong Pro Heaven one-man team. That guy is pitiful. But surely, he got at least 1 7 refined stone? Hard to say, maybe he really didn't get one. Would he have been killed by immortal spirit beast? Impossible, there would at most be level 2 immortal spirit beast at level 1 of the tower. That guy is an abstruse immortal middle stage, he can take on level 2 immortal spirit beast. But it's possible he was annihilated by another team. Some people laughed. The tens of immortal kings were also looking at the scoreboard, discussing about cultivation as well. Clearly, they could hear the discussions of the low-level immortals. Kai Feng Immortal King and Ping Ju Immortal King's face was sunken. Su Huan Immortal King's face was green. She regretted bringing that Mo Ying to Yuan La Heaven. A white light blinked and a 6-man squad was teleported to level 3. A white light blinked and a 6-man squad was teleported to level 3. I see a level 4 Jilan fruit. It seems there are quite a lot of good things at level 3. One person said. Before he finished, a piercing screech of metal sounded and then a dark shadow covered the space. Not good, it's spirit-sucking bloodbat, run. One experienced abstruse immortal tertiary stage immediately called out in shock. The rest of the people realized that this black mass was spirit-sucking bloodbat. They were immediately about to retreat. However, it was too late now. The flock of bats surrounded the 6 completely. There were bats from level 2 to level 4. Even though they had used their last means, but it was useless against so many bats. In a short time, 2 abstruse immortals were torn to bloody mist by the bats. The remaining 4 people had a sliver of despair. They could only crush their jade card and teleport out. 3 months trial and they didn't even last 1 month. When the 4 came to the square, they realized they weren't the first. There were at least 40 people who were out. Yi Mo just cultivated in his golden page world for 3 days, but that was a year or so in the time formation disk. He broke through to abstruse immortal tertiary stage without any trouble. 3 days later, Yi Mo left the golden page world and hid his power to be abstruse immortal middle stage. He had decided to go to 7 refined tower level 4. Xue Chengxian, your power is indeed strong, but there's a chronological order to things. We've been here for half a day and we killed that 3-headed bear. Now that we're going to collect 7 refined stones, you're going to rob us? One pretty female immortal's face was bursting red. There were 4 abstruse immortals behind her. However, Xue Chengxian looked down and said nothing. There were 3 people behind him too, but his teammates were full of contempt. Clearly, they knew that the blood-robed immortal could deal with everything himself. Xue Chengxian laughed and suddenly sneered, if you disagree then attack together, only I will be fighting. The other 3 teammates laughed too and one of them said, Martial brother Xue, we'll go somewhere else, we won't affect your business. When you're done, we'll rendezvous, will you? The abstruse immortal then looked at the pretty female immortal strangely before leaving. Moments later, the 3 were indeed gone. Xue Chengxian licked his lips and didn't seem scared at all facing 5 people. He laughed, you guys can attack together. Don't worry, I'll let one of you live. Then he scanned that pretty female immortal. Even an idiot knew what he meant now. Xue Chengxian was vengeful and very lustful too. The 5 clearly knew Xue Chengshuan's character. One abstruse immortal peak stage saluted with his fists and said nothing. He pulled that pretty female immortal and said, let's go. The female immortal knew that the 5 of them combined were probably no match for Xue Chengxian. It was pointless to stay here and they didn't dare to collect the stones. Seeing them leave, Xue Chengxian laughed, you're lucky I'm in a good mood. Then he was about to collect the 3 7 refined stones. I'm in a good mood too. One sound suddenly stopped Xue Chengxian. Before Xue Chengxian could scan his spirit sense, a figure landed before him. He waved his hand and the 3 stones fell into his hands. It's you. Xue Chengxian saw it was Yi Mo and dazed. He knew this guy, the one from Zhong Piaro Heaven that no one wanted to team up with. He was the weakest, an abstruse immortal middle stage. How did a trash like him come to level 3? Then he realized, this guy not only came to level 3 and dared to take 7 refined stones from him. You're asking to die. Xue Chengxian released his space-shattering lightning spear. Countless silver lightning arcs shot out. It was as though the spear broke into a space filled with lightning arcs. In that instant, the lightning covered the entire space. Before this spara was fully activated, a few more silver spear shadows spilled out, each bringing countless lightning arcs as it crackled the space. There were more and more spear shadows and lightning arcs. Yimo approved of this quite a bit. This was a bit like his illusion cloud division strike. From this, it was clear that Xue Chengshuan's spirit sense was also powerful. Xue Chengxian was furious indeed. No matter how this insect came here, he dared to challenge his authority. He wasn't going to give this insect a chance to crush the jade card. He was certain he would be able to kill Yimo before he could teleport out. But what made him more furious was that Yimo didn't use the jade card and instead released a rock magic artifact. Smash! The world rock brought out a dark ray that instantly broke through the endless silver lightning arcs. Xue Chengshuan's spear had a sliver of spear domain inside. Ordinary abstruse immortals would indeed be killed before being able to use jade card, but to Yimo, this wasn't enough. Xue Chengxian was indeed much stronger than ordinary abstruse immortal tertiary stage, but compared to Yang Jiutian he was far weaker. In the blink of an eye, the world rock fell. The silver lightning was crushed like paper, spilling everywhere. The world rock just paused for a brief moment and continued falling. Xue Chengxian was overwhelmed. He ran his immortal essence like crazy, trying to maintain his spear force. Crack! The world rock smashed the lightning spear and Xue Chengxian spat a mouthful of blood flying back out. Mid-air he ate a pill and released a faint red barrier. You weren't smashed to death. Yimo murmured in confusion. Yimo was planning to kill Xue Chengxian in one go. Yimo shook his head. It seemed he needed a god art indeed. If the world rock had its god art, that kid would have been smashed to pulp. Xue Chengxian heard this and spat another mouthful of blood. He dominated the Yuan La Heaven domain, and even Great Unity Immortal would have to run away when seeing him. Since when did he receive such insult? That guy just used one move and was confused why he didn't die. I looked wrong, I didn't expect you had such power. Xue Chengxian said coldly. Xue Chengshuan's heart was cold. If this wasn't the 7 refined tower, he would be certain Yimo was a great immortal, but great immortals can't come in the 7 refined tower. This guy was indeed an abstruse immortal then. Why did no one want to team up with such a powerful abstruse immortal? This was the first time he had seen an abstruse immortal this strong. Since you didn't die, eat another strike then. Yimo knew that it was a bit hard to kill Xue Chengxian in the 7 refined tower. This guy could crush his jade card in time. Xue Chengxian burst his immortal essence and the red light barrier shone brightly. He released his lightning spear again. He really couldn't accept being beaten by a nameless person. As long as his red barrier could stop that rock, he can counterattack with the lightning spear. Dang! Crack! The red barrier crashed with the world rock, forming a loud bell ring. The red barrier instantly disappeared and the powerful force struck Xue Chengxian a few hundred meters away. Xue Chengxian spat another mouthful of blood while looking at the world rock in shock. He didn't understand what magic artifact could be this powerful. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.